CAC is about bringing the climbing community together to help tackle cancer. And we do that by funding cancer research and also programs to help people live with and beyond cancer. And we also do it by raising awareness. We've actually donated more than £500,000 to charities around the world. A bunch of ways to get involved with CAC. One is to buy some kit. Another way is fundraising. It could be, a tray bake. Just be creative, whatever works for you. At the end of the day, it's about raising money. And then the third thing is we regularly have pop-up stalls. So we, at festivals, events, competitions, and having people along just to help out at those couple of hours up to folks like us, folks like you at home, to get involved and keep the thing carrying forward.
Together, let's be peace with these.
Plywood Masters is back for 2025, and of course we're at Boulder UK. We've got a stacked field of athletes trying to qualify for the finals, and only 6 men and women have made it through. All of this is live on Olympic gold medalist Toby Roberts' YouTube channel.
On my YouTube channel, well, make sure you like and subscribe. I'm here because I've got a 100% win rate and I want to keep that record.
We've been saying all week, there's a lot of skin gone into it, so hopefully it'll be exciting.
Hi, my name's Thea and I'm here because it's my home wall and I absolutely love competing at Plywood Masters.
I'm Tanya, co-owner of Boulder UK. Excited to see so many people here today. Really good turnout for Plywood Masters.
Why am I here? Well, I've come from Spain and I've come to support the Boulder UK Plywood Masters because it looks like an awesome comp.
This comp is put on a good show and beat Toby.
My name's George Lonsdale and I will be hosting the finals. It's going to be so exciting, lots of action on its way. The last couple of days have built up to this moment. It's time for Plywood Masters 2025 at the Boulder UK gym. My name is Matt Groom. I'm joined again by Leah Crane. And Leah, what semi-finals we witnessed earlier on today. So the semi-finals took place. 20 athletes coming down to just 6 men and 6 women. We're trying to crown a champion, of course, and the boulders out on the wall are going to be testing them to the extreme. And yeah, the semi-finals earlier on, we had to cut down that big field of athletes, some hard boulders along the way. And strong from the men, the women struggling just a little bit, as we saw earlier on.
Yeah, the semi-finals for the women looked really tough. Obviously the men had some hard boulders as well, but coming out to a dynamic block for the women, coming out to a slab for the men, like it was really contrasting styles. And I think that everybody put on a really good show, but the important part is the final, and you know how much energy have the athletes spent in semis, how much rest have they had, have they eaten properly in between rounds. All of these things come into play.
I certainly have. I had a very good pizza from the car park earlier on. I'm fueled and ready to go. And we got some big names in tonight's final, as we can see here on the screen. Holly Toothill, she left it till the last minute to get into the finals, but when she did, she got there in second place. But Thea qualifying in the top spot, so she'll be out last here. And Jessica down at the bottom, just getting in. Something to prove perhaps for her, but for fresh boulders ahead of us. and we've got some pretty exciting tools and things to play with. We've got sort of a computer game style thing, Leah, which you or someone else might be controlling halfway through this.
Well, I hope for the watchers' sake, it's not myself. I did have a little play earlier. It's not the easiest thing to use, but it just gives us a real sense of the wall itself, but also the holds, obviously, on the wall. Something that we didn't see very much in semi-finals was because all the cameras were front on, obviously for safety reasons, camera people can't be on the mats. We didn't really see the angle of the wall. We didn't see the steepness and like actually how much that plays into each climb.
Yeah, it does. And the enormous prow in the centre of the wall, I think about 65 degrees. So hopefully we'll be able to see some more of that. But right now, the lights dotted across the wall. The audience has been building. Just before we came on air, our MCs and organisers were... lobbing is the correct word. Prizes into the audience, including an entire boulder mat.
Yeah, I think they definitely got a payback for being here and watching the finals in person. There was some rather large prizes being thrown out. But the crowd here are always great year on year, like really get behind the climbers. And I don't know, I remember back to my comp days, that would really make or break the atmosphere of the comp as well. But actually, sometimes it can really push on how hard you try.
That's very true. And we, of course, have Leah Crane here, who is a past winner at the event. So she literally knows what it's like to be out there on the mats. Leah, I mean, it might have been a little bit of a long time ago now, but do you still remember winning this thing?
Thanks, Matt. A little bit of a long time ago. Do you know, I do remember winning this thing. It wasn't at this venue. It was at an old venue, but it was still Plywood Masters. And again, like just being a young climber, being at these competitions and now being sat in the commentary box. Yeah, I do remember how it felt to be there. Like my hands still get really sweaty when I'm watching them now, but I absolutely don't envy them. And I'm going to leave that comp wall to them. I'm out.
It's interesting you say about young climbers, because for me, this is what competitions like this are about. Because although we have some big names, some World Cup athletes, there are lots of up-and-comers here. This is a chance for them to test themselves, not just against other athletes, but against some world-class route setting.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing I overheard Jessica downstairs being like, "How am I in the final?" She was really shocked to be there herself. But she is going to be competing alongside Thea Cameron, who's a real strong local here, and Holly Toothill. And it's just going to be a fantastic experience, and maybe a little bit of a message to say, look, hey, anything can happen in competition. If you have a good day and you bring it all together, then you can start making some positions that maybe you didn't think you would be able to, and that's a spot in the finals.
Yeah, exactly. It's all confidence, isn't it, coming into the rest of the 25 season. And hello to YouTube as well. You guys were amazing during the semi-finals, and I'm expecting the same again. So first of all, could you let me know who you're supporting tonight? Who do you think is going to win? Because our first few athletes are on, and the noise, Leah, is deafening out there.
I'm really glad we've got over-ear headphones on, because I'm squishing them to my head right now.
It's hard to hear, but the athletes are out on the mats. And Jim Pope, his name announced. He won't be competing in the IFSC season, concentrating more on rocks, so it's good to have him here. And then Holly, we said she left it late. It came down to that final slab for her to get into this finals. Last year's winner.
Yeah, like she really left it, and not necessarily down to the last slab. She left it down to attempts, and that's a small margin to be leaving it to.
Yeah, can she make it the double here tonight at Plywood Masters? Coming up to 5 o'clock, UK team. Lots of people supporting Toby, and also we're on Toby's YouTube channel or on the Boulder UK channel, but we are keeping an eye on the chat on Toby's channel, so cheers Toby. And I know he's got a couple of videos coming out of this event, so while you're here, just subscribe to his channel, will you? Give him a bit of a boost and you see some amazing behind the scenes stuff. Right, Leah, what on earth is going on here for the uninitiated?
The guys and the girls will go to block 1 of their respective groups, and they'll have, it says 4 minutes on, it's gone now, thankfully. It's 2-minute observation time per block. So the climbers, you can see them touching the start holds. They're allowed to do that. They're not allowed to touch any further holds up the wall. If they do, it'll be probably counted as an attempt. And they'll be able to basically have a look, have a chat with each other if they want to. Maybe, I don't know, some tactics might be played here with keeping some knowledge to yourself if you think that you've unlocked a certain way, or if you have a training partner that you climb with all the time, you can actually really work together. And that's something that we sometimes see in comps, is depending on who you route read with, can really depend what avenue you go down in terms of your attempts.
And of course it can go the other way as well, which is you can get it wrong.
Yes. And so I think, again, when I was on the mats, I would really try and kind of get see what everybody thought. If people were willing to chat, if they weren't, that's totally fine as well. That's up to them. But here we can have a little look at the render, so you can get a bit of an idea of the angle of the wall, the holds themselves, and sometimes how bad they are. This block, when I saw it initially, I thought it was a men's block. Then the route setters were like, no, this is the women's. And I was like, okay, potentially the hardest women's block. It is block 1. So we'll see how they get on when they pull off the floor. But this one looks spicy. I feel like the spice levels are high.
I feel like you're very right. 40 degrees through the middle of that thing. Really physical moves, as we saw on that render. And we will be flying around. Thank you to Ian Brown for doing these amazing renders here today. And the men are looking at their first climb. Let's see the 3D. Starting low, and it is worth mentioning, some of these holds might change a little bit, but we'll let you know at home.
Yeah, there have been a few footholds changed, or like the distances between holds changed, but there's nothing major that's happened. This one, men's block 1, being a very dynamic block on the first move. Again, we'll see how the men read it. We questioned if it was breakable at the start. They're very capable comp climbers out there, and they always like to do things a bit differently.
Yes, they do indeed, which is great to see. And then moving on to a slab. And now, eagle-eyed viewers, there are some hidden holds on this thing. Where it says Plywood Masters on the blue and white, there are crimps hidden in blue and white. And we're saying this because we found it quite hard to see on the maps, didn't we?
Yeah, going through this with the setter, I was kind of stood there with my mouth wide open going, what do you want them to do? But there are crimps in the middle of the O and the D. That's what we're zooming in on now. And then obviously they're off to the side pull, and the volumes to stand on to the top. So you've got some tiny little nubbin holds there just for the top move. So it's pretty, looks like sketchy low percentage moves maybe for the girls on there. Definitely a lot of balance involved, and you've got to trust your feet.
Absolutely. And then we're looking at M2 here, men's 2. Jim standing hands on his hips. Now, this start, very awkward. You're kind of hugging this big block with your feet and your heel right up by your hands.
It doesn't look the most comfortable at all. Again, a really, really steep part of the wall. I'm just sort of like looking at it actually in real time, not just on the screen. And I really hope they've got skin left for this, because if not, it's A, going to be really painful, but B, it might really hinder their attempts at actually being able to stay on. Yeah, it's true. 65 degrees through the middle of this thing. It comes right up the middle of the Boulder UK prow. And it's worth mentioning, if you're in the area, do come and check out this gym. It's a great place to climb. They have fantastic coffee. So, yes, if you're anywhere near Manchester or Preston, come along, please. Now, Toby is standing there head to toe in Red Bull gear. The favourite on paper, perhaps, Leah, and qualifying in first position here. He did qualify in first position, but I think the climbers around him also had a really strong streak. He did win in first position by topping all the blocks, which granted the other climbers didn't do. However, you know, that Toby and Sam were flashing the other boulders. So a tight final between these three boys. Obviously, it's not just between the three, with Stephen, Finn and Jim as well. Like, anything actually could happen. And sometimes with competition, depending on your skill set as a climber, it can come down to what the route setters have put on the wall, if that suits your style, or if you've put in the work and you can climb on anything, then you've got more tools in your bag to pull out when needed. Absolutely. Well, coordination and sketchy feats as the style of this climb. It's easier slab climbing, easier in angle, I mean, and then these dishes at the top, we saw them in the semi-finals used heavily. Not too bad as long as you hit the right bit of them, but body position is important. Yeah, that women's block, the holds are big, but they're really powerful positions with really high feet. It doesn't look like, they don't look like comfortable positions to be in, and not necessarily easy to get out of either. Yes, agreed. And then the men's down on a slab. Let's have a look at our render. Now, this start, that blue thingy in the middle is pretty much no text. It's a nasty stand, and then you're stepping on no text again. Yeah, so you can kind of see the front of these volumes are textured, and they have a slight like rib around the edge with like maybe a couple of miller texture on. And then otherwise it's a mirror. You can see your face. The little button on the men's, like you said, is completely no text. It almost looks like the screw is the best part to stand on. I hope it doesn't wreck their shoes. But yeah, I hope everyone keeps their shins and chins intact on there. Yes, please. No injuries, if you wouldn't mind. Well, there are some of our setters, Dave Barron's in the background there, watching his creations being tested. And well done to the route setters. It was an interesting semi-final. As we said, the women's perhaps a bit too hard maybe, but they've made some adjustments for this finals.
And the setter's doing a good job, very little skin. They set 30 qualifying boulders yesterday, and this is my favourite thing about the comp, because if you come along, you can climb next to people like Max, Toby, Holly, on the same boulders. It's just such a good experience.
Yeah, and also if people are coming down, some of the qualifying boulders are actually still up as well, so you get to have a little play on what these guys have climbed on yesterday.
That's very cool, isn't it? And I presume they'll leave these finals boulders up for a while as well, so there you go, come down. Well, we've got the last couple of minutes here before the competition will get underway. The athletes will then go to an isolation area. That's where they're kept, because you cannot let them see what the other athletes are doing. But let's have a look at Boulder 4 while we're here. 32 degrees, freestyle style. I like that. And, a weird move to that protruding thing in the middle.
Yeah, Max has set a spicy one here as well. I think this is a very committing boulder for the girls. It's quite a semi-dynamic start with a very involved move to get up on top of the white spike, if that's what you want to call it.
Unicorn hole.
Yeah. And then once they're up on that, they've got a full no textured thumb spraggy little crimpy edge, and then a full on dyno to the top move. Yeah, the thumb scrag is something that's changed from that render. They put it on recently, so that's something that's a bit different. Does change actually the boulder and how you do it. It's less of a jump and more of a sort of a twisty thing. Yeah, I still think the top move is quite committing, especially it always feels quite daunting having to go for something at the top of the wall when you've really got not much else. So again, the girls that can really commit, 2 hands. And tell us about this one, because the start this is interesting. Yeah, this was an interesting story from Jan. This is a Jan special. Contortion is absolutely the right word. So the climbers are expected to start feet first upside down. There is a knee bar in on the volume. The volume top, where your knee will sit, is no text. And that's also so that hopefully the climbers keep their skin in contact and we don't have too many blood technicals, because we don't want that. No, and talking about technicals, you were a bit concerned about technicals on this boulder in terms of starting position, right? Yeah, well, technically, because of where the tape is on the holds, you could actually start in a knee bar upside down, spin yourself all the way around, get your hands the right way, and you've still only just started the block. The next move, or shall I say the second move, but you've obviously done a million to get in there, but you've got no further up the wall, is the zone. So in terms of from a judging aspect, they're going to be sat there watching for them to start for ages. Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be fascinating to keep an eye on that. All right, well, there's our hidden holds in the play. I say hidden, the athletes can see them, by the way, but it's a nice little feature, I think. I'm not sure how much I want to see that in World Cups. But yeah, I mean, when you're sat at home, sometimes it's hard to actually see what's going on. And obviously, at the end of the day, climbing does want to put on a show, and we do want to know what the climbers are holding on to, because that's why we're watching it, right? To see what they're doing. So at least you guys at home know that the holds are there now. Yes, we can see. We can see them anyway. All right, YouTube and everyone watching, I hope you are ready, because we're about to get underway. People are asking about the setters. Yeah, they're mainly World Cup setters, actually, so it's kind of a bit of practice for them as well to set some new things for the athletes. People are enjoying the 3D renders. Yes, they're very cool, and we'll get to fly them later on. Someone says knee bars aren't real climbing. Controversial stuff there. Now, come to Boulder UK and you might see different. Well, there is George Longsdale standing in the spotlight. Here's our MC for tonight. He will be calling all of the action on the floor, but obviously he can't give it away. But he's the hype man out there, and a very good setter and climber himself. He was crushing the quali boulders yesterday. He's got a hard job. How do you encourage someone and not tell them what to do? I don't know. I couldn't do it. Honestly, I'd give it away within seconds. I'd mess it up. Wow, the atmosphere and the noise goes through the roof. Oh my goodness, it's the first few come in. Stephen and Jessica are out first of all. And Jessica, at just 18 years old, is fresh into the competition scene. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. You said she was surprised to be here, but she's earned her place, and now it's time to perform. As the dark lights go out, I'm hoping they'll turn them on in a sec. I think we're having a bit of problem with the lighting, but I think we'll have a bit more light. There we go, as it comes on. Right, Stephen underway. Now this is the move to the left, a big jump. And missed the move to the right. He did miss, but he has read it right. So that, I hope, signals that the rest of the boys have obviously read it that way as well. So they are going to be doing it the right way. Yes. That was enough for Jessica to get the zone. So she did hold the zone and then repositioned her hand. So she's used it. And look at the scoreboard on the left if you can see it. I know on a mobile it might be a little bit small, so you might have to rewatch it on a computer. But that box will fill halfway for a zone,
full way for a top, and the number in it indicates the attempts. All right, into the zone then, so that box will fill up halfway.
Yeah, so Stephen, again, the route setters were saying this is quite a dynamic move, so go with the hand and plant the foot, looking like he's got the lock dialed, but he's going to go for it. Oh, a step through. Not what I expected. It really twisted his body out from the wall, and that's not what you want on that top hold.
So you think maybe a bit of a rethink on that one?
I just think I say he needs to. It's easy for me to sit here and say that, but I think he really needs to just pop the left foot out. If it looked like he was stuck in between two minds as to whether he should go static or dynamic, and I think he kind of did a bit half and half.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's in a good position though, 2.5 minutes on the clock, so he's got time. And now this boulder, it's so physical, isn't it, for the women? It really is. I mean, it's a powerful start, and then it carries on going through the steepest bit.
It is feisty. It's really feisty, and I think the zone actually isn't that good of a hold. You could kind of see it on the render, but it's the slopiest hold on there by far, and it's whether or not they're gonna, Jessica's gonna be able to hold it well enough to come into the crimp Gaston and recompose herself after getting that score.
Yeah, it's fairly complicated, that movement. Spins down at the moment. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see how different people approach that section, because I think there might be a few ways you could possibly get through the moves. We'll have to see. All right, so out, back in.
He's got that move dialed, and again, that's something that you really can train in training. Like, low percentage moves need to be something that you can repeat time on time.
Yeah, Leah, you've worked as a coach for a lot of your life, and I've been loving hearing your tips. Like, I need to listen to you more often so you can tell me how to climb. One move away. Will he change things?
It looks... I don't know why he's not wanting to pop the left. Maybe he is a bit of a bigger climber. Maybe because he's over the foot a little bit more, he doesn't feel like he can pop and release. But the left foot, that top hold to me doesn't look good enough to be able to spin that far on it. The planting foot volume is very big. It does stick out from the wall very far. So maybe that's inviting him to do that.
So you think more of a sort of a bump that left hand?
Bump left, bump left hand, bump left foot.
Okay. Well, she's established for a second, but back down to the mat.
It's a real helicopter move on that first move, like really having to kick hard to stop that rotation.
It's funny you say that. There's lots of comments about helicopter moves coming through, so you are right on that. Wow, he's probably got one more chance at this. 29 seconds on the clock. Hits the zone. Let's see if he's listened.
So we're looking for him to hop that left foot out as he hits the hand.
It's in reach, isn't it? And look, now he's having a look at this bump.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go. I had to stop talking there because it's so loud. I can't hear my own voice. But Leah Crane reading that perfectly, and we've got a top in 4. And now this is a great graphic showing the resting and the amount of time on the wall. He had a big break between 2 and 3 attempts there.
Yeah, I mean, he was getting close, so he was probably thinking, I'm going to get it next time. You can see that he got the zone on his second attempt. But I think him being so close to the top, I think that resting period is quite good.
Yeah.
And that he needed just a little bit to get it back. It wasn't a straightforward block. And also a little bit of mental time to recompose himself and be able to execute the hard move over and over.
Yeah, agreed. Well, 2 very different athlete perspectives here. We've got Ember, who looked a little nervous, twitchy. Finn, who's just stock still and steady out there. He's a big man, span of 5 centimetres, 172. And there is Ember, who led the way in the semi-finals for a long time this afternoon before finally getting beaten down. But she's only 16 as well. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, hailing from Scotland. Her local wall is Ratho, so she's come a long way down.
She has made that journey and straight into the first move powerfully there.
Well, her hero climber is Brooke Rabbitoux, so I feel like this is... I could see this being Brooke's style, little pocket rocket, like smashing up the boulder, so I can see that that's a good hero to have for this.
I agree with you, yeah. Brooke, if you're listening, you've got someone chasing after your crown. Put it like that.
Finn almost looking like he was going to stall before moving the hand to the red hold, but he was going to stall on the volume, just kick the foot out and land it. I think with a bit more flow and like definite movement towards that red hold, you could see this move going next go.
Yeah, agreed. Well, Finn's had his first attempt, as has Ember here. Has a little look around. She's thinking about the next sequence. I was impressed how much she cruised that first move.
Yeah, the helicopter move. And I think helicopter moves are a bit weird because it's almost like the more you try it, the more you fall off.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, Finn sticking I think he just needed a bit of a Tesco, a confidence boost on that. He might kick himself for needing another go on this because he's well capable of doing this go.
Now, I wonder if he's read it with Stephen.
I was going to say, he was looking at the volume, twitching his left foot. I was thinking it was going to go, but he did not get up enough and into the right position in order to hold that plant.
So Finn brushes the holds. Apparently people have got money on this man. I'm not quite sure what's going on in the underground of the British climbing scene, but there's big money, 30 quid riding on this man for certain people. So Finn needs to execute for that. Yeah, you can see that scoreboard on the left. That will be updated as we go through. Stephen obviously leading the way because he's got a top at the moment, and Jessica because she's got the zone. Ember will be fighting hard to get ahead of her.
Yeah, so we're expecting slightly longer rest periods for women on this block 1 because it is so powerful. Unless you're a power endurance monster that just doesn't get tired, go after go, you're going to need maybe even a minute or so to actually get some juice back.
And even if you are a power endurance monster, you've got 3 more boulders to come. You need to pace yourself out there.
True that.
All right, so Finn, has he learned from that first go, or first few goes, out with the left hand, creeps the right foot underneath him, looks to the volume.
Is he reaching over? Oh, he's back. Oh, no.
Trying to match that probably unmatchable hold in the middle there.
I can just imagine all the route setters shaking their heads come on, do it properly.
Yes. Yeah, the setters will be on tenterhooks now to see if their boulders will work. They have done a good job so far. Ember checks the time and we come up to the minute mark. And something that really confused me in semi-finals, the buzzer goes at 3 seconds, not at 5 seconds.
It does not give you long, no. Especially if you're nose to the wall, concentrating on your move. 3 seconds is not long enough to react.
Right, flicks out.
Good spin. I mean, really good right foot plant, to stop the helicopter. So she wasn't whirling round out of control. It was really good. Just not making good enough contact with the zone. Just needing a little bit more tension when she gets there.
Yeah. And Finn coming up towards the top now. 1 move to go and no down.
Oh no. It's he knows what to do, but he doesn't feel comfortable, so he wants to try a different way, and he's run out of time.
Well, Leah, I know we're going to have a look now at our 3D render at the top of men's number 1, just to check out that hold and see how bad it really is up there. So we'll try to get that sorted for you in this little gap between the competitors. Maybe not, might not happen, but at some point we'll fly a drone around our computer game style wall. But right now our next athletes are out and about, and we've got Jim Pope and Catherine McDougall. So Catherine brushing these holds, making sure of it, and Jim Pope down at the end. Such an experienced competitor, isn't he? I mean, he's been on the World Cup circuit forever, it seems.
Yeah, Jim, is just a jack of all trades. You can see him.
So we're looking at this render now. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
So we're going to check out, I think, men's number 1, the top of it. So we're going to have a little look over on the right-hand side of the screen here, just to see what's going on with the top of that boulder as we fly in. So, Leah, what are the complexities with this? Why is it so hard?
Well, I think because you've got your left foot really close underneath you and your left hand is leading, you don't really want to go left hand again because you're going to feel out of control. But that is why the route setters have put a really big left foot volume to oppose on and to land the left foot. It's just not going to be a comfortable feeling because the handholds are so slopey and so bad.
And the slope is right. We're looking at it now. It isn't the best of jugs at the top there. So work to do for the men. But at the moment, Jim's struggling to get off the ground at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think that. I was about to say Jim's jack of all trades. You'll see him in competition. You'll see him on rock. You'll see him ice climbing up a winter gully. He does everything. Self-confessed, I don't think, his natural style is popping and pinging around the wall. Yeah. It's not his strongest one anyway. So, I mean, he's stuck it now, obviously. He's wanting to go for some alternative beater. He's a grip master. Oh. We know that as well.
Oh, come on, right. Left. That was so beastly from Jim there.
He looked right at home in that position, but just a little pop and it just caught him off guard to land that left foot. That was tight.
I love the way he lost his feet and just gripped harder in the middle of that boulder. Pure power from Jim there.
Yeah, that man doesn't struggle with strength.
No, he does not. He does not. Well, meanwhile, Catherine down at the other end is just having a rest, so we'll stick with Jim here as he chalks up again. And there is Catherine just breathing pretty heavy out there. We know how powerful this women's boulder is. And Jessica had 6 attempts at that, Ember 5, so they are throwing themselves at it.
Yeah, again, so I'll confess for Catherine, like, you know, overhanging steep power boulders aren't necessarily her thing. She's definitely into something more slabby and techy. So this isn't going to naturally be something that she's feeling like confident or loving, but she's having a really good go nonetheless.
Here goes the beast then. Matches. Let's see if he can keep the feet this time, because it cost him a bit of energy before. Looks left. Is he going to do this cross again? He's going to match. And then go with the left. Right. How? How did he manage to hold that?
Amazing hip flexibility from Jim. Again, we nearly had deja vu. He did slip, but it was almost like he was ready this time for the backup. He moved so quick to get that left foot on, and it looked like it was on within millimetres.
And look at that learning as well in that graphic. You know, if you goes down low not getting anywhere, and then subsequent goes getting closer and closer, that's kind of what you want to see.
Yeah, I think Jim is really good at keeping a cool head, even when things don't always go very well. So you can see when he needs a bit of a rest just to figure it out. But yeah, hats off, Jim. That was a good effort. And again, we see the climbers really doing their thing in their own style. You can see here from the render of the block that Catherine is on, the first one. Like, actually, the hold that she's coming into, the first move, is a good block.
Yeah.
But they're so low with such bad feet that even though the hold is big, it almost doesn't matter. Because there's nothing...
Yeah, she's kind of spinning herself off the wall, really, isn't she, on that move?
There's nothing to get involved on.
No, that graphic says it all. I like this graphic, to be honest. I think it's quite cool to see that I'm interested in the resting mainly, because... Yeah, and how you pace it.
Yeah, I think from a coaching perspective, that's also something that's really interesting, and it's something that you need to learn as a climber, because it's really easy to sometimes just keep jumping on the wall because you want another go and you want another go. And yes, I know I keep banging on about needing to learn each move, but you have to be tactical with your attempts and your resting time. But equally, because the coaches can't communicate with their athletes, they can't shout to help, that is something that you have to learn literally by doing competitions, getting it wrong and moving on.
Izzy, meanwhile, spins and she hits the helicopter move really well. Are we going to see the zone here? She's certainly touched it, so high point so far, and she'll move straight to the top of the lead. Not so far, sorry, we've got 2 zones. But that is a high point as she hits the crimp. Pushing away. She looks so strong out there.
Yeah, so this top move, it has moved down a little bit. The setters have tweaked it slightly because they thought it was a bit too high, but an amazing flash from Izzy.
Well, we've gone from 6 attempts for some athletes to a flash for Izzy. Perhaps stepping up the bar a little bit here, and she will quickly leave. And psychologically, if you're an athlete waiting, you've seen everyone else fall off it. Izzy comes back in a couple of minutes. That's going to get you.
Yeah, and I think as well with the athletes where they qualify in position, so Izzy's qualified in 3rd for this, you generally always want to better your score. So I think the fact that she's come out and flashed that has put her in a really good stead.
Yes, it is. Well, we'll see Sam now. He did so well in semis for a long time. We thought he might flash all the boulders and then struggled at the very end, but he's now established in the zone. So there's zones for everyone so far on this boulder.
And something I don't think's talked about very much is, you know, we always talk about the physical aspects of climbing. Nice moves, Sam. That was a different way again, going right hand over, but popping the left foot. That was a kind of a mix of both styles from Stephen and Jim.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? I love it when a boulder gets done like that. Okay, so you were saying, what do people not talk about?
Yeah, sorry. We always talk about, like, the physical parts of climbing, like how strong they are, they've got strong fingers, they move well on the wall and whatever else. But we just don't always talk about the mental aspect and how the climbers hold it together in competition when it's going right or when it's not going right. Like, because sometimes when it's not going right, obviously it's not very nice, but when it is going right, it almost adds more pressure because you're having a really good comp and you don't want to break that cycle on a block.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, the psychological side is so interesting in this. All right, well, next up is a man who's had to deal with a lot of psychological things. Smacks onto the wall. He's a regular on the World Cup circuit and maybe hasn't always fulfilled his potential on the IFSC, but he's someone who's looking very good this year so far.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it, as well, because you see somebody training so hard and they put their all into it. I mean, look how strong he is on this move. Like you say, he might not have filled his potential. Just because someone's really strong and they train loads, it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win. I definitely think Max has the potential to do amazing on the circuit, and he's had some really good results, but it's just not quite flowed for him maybe as well as he's wanted to yet, but I think his time's coming.
I agree with you. Keep an eye on that man as he walks off, saunters off quite casually, having a cheeky look on the way, as you would. And then Holly sits on the ground. She did good in that first attempt. Got the zone straight away.
Looked a bit unsure of herself. She kind of second-guessed what she was meant to be doing. She was kind of dotting her hands around here and there. Again, that's something that might have been a bit of a spanner in the works, hearing that Izzy just went out so fast and flashed it. And she's like, oh, okay, now I need to do this to match. Yeah. And has not gone very well.
And being the defending champion, how much pressure does that put on an athlete?
I mean, Holly's done a lot of competing. She knows the game. I think if anything, she puts more pressure on herself to do as well as she knows that she can do. Obviously falling off blocks when someone else has done it doesn't feel good in competition. There's lots more blocks to go. She qualified in second place ahead of Izzy. Again, it's down to her experience in competitions before, and whether she can pull it back. It's all around mental attitude, but a mental attitude, in my opinion, is learned, and that's from experience.
Fascinating stuff here. Well, let's see if Holly can get it done. She pulls back on. Had a bit of a slip on that attempt. I think it was just a slip because she's straight into it. There's the zone. Big move out left. Right, you got to keep moving here, not slow down. Upgrades that hand a bit higher. And that crimp in the middle of the wall by the RAB logo there.
Yeah, and really not looking that happy on the zone. I did say it was very, very slopey. It's not something that you can just start yarding on. Izzy looks like she got into that position and was really comfortable, pulled up, popped the heel in and really pulled her hips up into the wall. Holly's not quite finding that niche to sit in comfortably yet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll keep an eye on that time here. There it is. So 1 minute 19. So not a lot of time, but time enough to do the boulder.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know which way this is going to go. I'm just in a bit of a thought process then. I might even say that she might struggle with this one.
Yeah, she's starting to look a bit unsure. Well, we're looking at this awful left-hand hold on our render here. Maybe if we can go around and have a look at the flat bit on the left-hand side of it. There we go, because that's what they're holding on to. It's just not very nice to pull on.
You can see like fingerprints on there in the chalk. It just isn't a good hold. No. And on an overhanging wall, it's not what the competitors want. She's got her hips in here.
Better, right?
Way better.
This could be close. Come on, Holly.
Here we go.
Big high hand. You feel this could be a big moment for Holly now if she can get this done. Oh no! Slipping off that final hold in slow motion as she hits the deck again. Tough stuff out there on the mat, so.
Yeah, I think her face says it all there, walking back in. Just hitting that hold a little bit too high and just slipping down towards the bottom of the hold.
Wow, well that reaction is for Toby. And people have been talking about Toby versus Max. And Max said it in the VT that he wants to beat Toby. These two are friends, of course, but there's going to be rivalry between them.
Yeah, there's a healthy competition. Yeah. And that's what pushes you to be better, whether that's, in training, or it gives a lot of people motivation, just knowing that there are people to beat out there. I do say in climbing, it's easy to start thinking of people to beat, and actually you need to be looking at the climb on the wall.
Yes.
It's you and the wall. It's not other people. You can't control what they do. You can only control what you do. But yeah, these boys, they're having a bit of fun. You can't say that they're not enjoying themselves.
No, exactly. And then Thea qualifying in first position as well. She's 24, and it's good to have her back. And she's doing really well here.
Yeah, also on the flash attempt.
Wow, Izzy flashed it. Can Thea flash it too? The top's in sight, one move away. But we've seen Holly slip off this final left hand, and so does she.
Yeah, I feel like Izzy stayed with the right foot. She didn't, if I remember correctly, she didn't move her left foot up, and she just sort of fired up to the top. Again, when they're bringing the left outside edge on, it feels like the right position to move, but it brings your hips away from the wall when you start to reach up because they're pulling you out. That sounds contradictory, but sometimes when you're on a sloper in a dynamic move, you almost will just want to be face on.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Let's see if she can make those adjustments. Toby, meanwhile, kicks right, lands it this time. And do remember, we mentioned this in semis, the athletes are kind of building up to their season, so they will be coming into shape. This is a good opportunity to see where they're at, but they won't be at 100% yet. Toby, though, look at this, statically crosses through with the right, makes an easy match. That was so Toby-esque, that last move.
That was, and yeah, the first move, yeah, it took him 4 attempts. He might need to be, or he might already be working those dynamic moves, his hop and pops, the coordination back at home. So all of this stuff is only really good training for him for the season ahead.
No, exactly. It is a weakness of his, and he's trying. He is off to Japan for a training camp before the season starts. He'll be jumping around there. And now Thea, go number 2, has rested well. Nails the helicopter move. I keep watching that right foot just smearing down the no-tex. It's nasty.
It's not, this is why I thought this boulder one was savage. I just, like, from the floor, it looked so hard. These girls are doing really well getting up there.
Well, the men are done for boulder 1, and Max Milne leads the way. As you can see, that flash all important. And Toby with 4 attempts. Of course, everyone in touch and just separated by those attempts. Now Thea stands in the shadows a little bit with the crowd behind her.
I mean, Izzy coming out and flashing this, she's set herself up really well for the rest of the comp, but she will know she's in first place. She needs to hold it together and not start worrying or second guessing. She just needs to go and climb and see what happens at the end.
And there's no coaches in ISO to have that chat you just had with her, so she's got to figure it out herself. Thea, meanwhile, will try to put a spanner in Izzy's works here as she goes out left onto the sloper. Oh, but no, I think might be powering out here a little.
Yeah, I mean, she's looking at her hand and picking up the brush, but I don't know. I agree with you. It didn't necessarily look like that was the problem.
No. Just lacked a bit of oomph in there, a bit of pop.
She's not weak, though, Thea, so...
Maybe just one of those goes.
Yeah.
It's got to happen now if it's going to.
In semis, I do remember watching her when she looked a bit lost or not in the right position, she did just drop off.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Well, it might have been a good tactic from her because she's getting close again. 9 seconds, though. Got to match the last hold with control.
Oh,
Looks
we
up.
get no buzzer beater. We're not. Oh. She looks goosed.
Well, she will have to leave with just a zone, which leaves Izzy out ahead with that amazing flash of that boulder. Unreal from her. And Max with a flash as well. All right, boulder number 1 done. We move on to boulder number 2. And we'll have some interesting things to show you on our render again. We have our man, Mr. Ian, who's flying it around for us. And Stephen out first of all. Is it Stephen or Stephen? I can't remember.
Stephen.
Stephen, right.
Yeah.
All right, so Stephen turns, looking relaxed out there. He's currently sitting in 3rd. Got it in 4 goes that first time.
Pulling on, this move, getting off the ground alone again looks really hard. And I was going to say really hard and physical. And off he goes to launch.
Yes, he does. Right, Jessica creeping towards, and now we see our render. Now that is the hold she's going for, hidden in the Plywood Master. They're not bad crimps, but you've got to be quite accurate on bad feet.
You do. I think if you can keep your balance in this section, it is a good crimp with a thumb catch, and then you can turn it into double gastons and really move your weight across. This will be the kind of low percentage, the heart flutter, like I know I can do this, but I need to not drop it. And it'll be the person that doesn't second guess their movement that can actually flow through.
Looks steady with that heel. Oh, as I say, actually overbalanced. Managed to save herself with that left press there. Lands into it. No.
Really good attempt though. Like her hips moved out from the wall. I just think it was almost a bit of a surprise landing for her, that it happened a bit earlier than what she expected. But again, for a first go, moving well.
All right, so pulling back onto this powerful move. He almost face planted this sequence before. It's a big jump out here. Better from him, more in control as he gets the zone. And up into the darkness a bit, but there is a sloper in there. Final hold, this should be a top, and it is scored. Strong stop at that high right toe.
Yeah, I mean, 2 tops now for Stephen. He's starting well. There is only one climber who didn't top the first block, so that will probably leave Finn feeling like he's trailing behind a little bit. But that's the nature of the game.
Yeah. Agreed. Right, Jessica, that's more controlled now and holds these. Now, if we get to the top, and we might be able to show you this on the 3D render later on, but at the top of the wall, there's 2 options. You go for the blue, or you kind of try to slot it in on the white. Now, I would expect it to be a slot jump, because it usually is, but actually, apparently, if you go all the way over, the blue is the best hold. So we'll try to show you that on the render, but it doesn't matter because she falls on his own.
This is a Dave Barron special, and I'm not surprised he's done something like that. I set with Dave Barron's every Friday, and yeah, he always likes to try and trick the climbers or catch them out in a way that he can, and this is kind of classic for him. So yeah, I'm not surprised.
I thought it was a little bit mean, in all honesty, but I quite like it when setters just put in a little trick for the athletes just to test them. Well, she's got, I think that's the minute buzzer gone though. Now, I mean, so she pulls on. And looking much better through this bottom part of the boulder now.
Yeah, and that's where maybe she's gained a bit of confidence from attempts and that she's not second-guessing her movement. She really needs her footwork to be on point here because, as we all know, a slip on a slab isn't generally savable.
No,
and she's done these moves, so she just needs to do what she knows she can and move through without error.
Cruising right now, trying to save some of the energy. The time is ticking away, though. There's a blue jib a little higher up. Hits the zone. She'll feel happier when she's got a right hand on this. Now, this is this hidden hold I was talking about on the right. If you go all the way to the blue, it's better, but it kind of tricks you to go for the white, and she did go for the white, I think.
Oh, Jessica. That's going to stay with her for a little while, I think. She didn't expect to be in this final anyway, and then to be sort of tickling the top hold on a block. That's going to...
Yeah, that would get you.
That's going to get you.
Haunting for Jessica, but she has to leave for now, and our next 2 rotate through. So we've got Ember and Finn. And Finn on this quite powerful move, but I'm surprised they haven't struggled more with the first move. I thought it was super awkward, but they...
Yeah, looking at it from the mats, that's why I was like, oh, this first move looks nails, but obviously these guys are in the final. They're good climbers.
Yeah, turns out they're all right, aren't
That's
they?
why me and you are sat in the commentary box.
You've won this thing, don't give me that.
Hey, climbing in 2009 was very different to climbing these days.
All right, Ember, what can you do on this slabby? Ooh, fall off it, sadly. And yes, I think she banged a knee on the way down there as well. So a little bit of a reset. Just 16, remember. That's a lot of pressure as a 16-year-old out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often all the lights are turned off and you have a spotlight on you with everybody watching. I think it's easy to forget sometimes that you're literally on centre stage and everyone is watching you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Ember has a look down, looks up towards the press. Maybe not trusting that foot after that slip.
Yeah, I mean, so Ember's 5'4". Really, because of that, needing to commit to the first move to get connection through the rest of her body to hit the palm. If she's only given it a little less than 100%, I don't think it's going to be enough.
No. All right, so Finn misses that left hand.
Yeah, looking like he was opting for a 1-2 rather than a double.
Oh, yeah. So maybe he has to rethink that. That's better from Ember, though. She's up and about now. Out towards the hidden holes. Face pressed close against the wall. Those hips in as well.
Good feet. I mean, she's trusting her feet on these volumes amazingly. Like, really good slab movement. Ironically, her favourite style blocks is dynamic compass. But she's moving really well on this slab.
She's changed her style up here. Right, she's currently down at the bottom of the leaderboard. 5 attempts and no zone on that first boulder and 3 attempts so far here. So she would like to sort of make an impact. That right hand the men are holding on is pretty good, and it allows you to do that stretch move out with the left, and then that little adjustment. But this is where the business end really starts on this boulder.
Yeah, he's not opting for that right foothold. It looks like he's not really able to transition his way over to the right side and jump fully to both the holds, which the left-hand hold alone is not holdable up.
Yeah. I'll have to see if he changes things up. Ember, meanwhile, does not like the middle of this boulder at all. And I can't see a solution for her yet. I think some of it just feels like confidence.
Yeah, I mean, she's standing so well on her feet. I almost feel like saying, just forget the handholds.
Yeah.
Every time she looks like she's going to go for the handhold, she just wobbles off backwards.
And she drops back to the palm in order to bring that right foot up a little bit. Gets set, and this is where she keeps falling now. You're right about those feet. It's really good. But this is where she's had problems. She's a long way away from it. And it looks like she's setting up to pop quite hard into it.
Yeah, I think because she's wanting to move her right foot out, her weight's coming back left, and then she's needing to come back to the right again. Again, it's a case of getting on and learning and trying, and she is doing that. She does only have a minute left. I would say maybe if she's going to fall early, maybe three goes a push, but if she can stay on into the volumes, I think she'll be able to work her feet up really nicely. Yeah, really struggling.
I'm moving my head in sympathy with her. Every time she makes a step, I do a rotation of my head. I'm living and breathing this one. And she's, needs to reset here. Finn goes again. I want him to do something different too. Out onto the sloper with the left hand.
So keeping his right foot in this time. Again, he's not getting his weight over there. He's struggling.
Look at our render here as well, just to catch a glimpse of that boulder. That left foot, she's going to have nightmares about it. And yeah, hits your left knee every time as well, and frustration for Ember as she leaves. I feel for her with that one. It's horrible when you fall off and hit yourself every time you do it.
Yeah, true, but, she can get onto a steeper part of the wall next and probably back in a happy place.
Into the power, yes. So, Jim coming out, looking super chill here this afternoon, this evening now, isn't it, as he comes on. I think he might enjoy this climb.
The biggest smile in climbing.
I can't believe Jim's 26. I remember watching videos of him climbing Nosferatu when he was 12. Things have changed.
Yeah, I think back when I was 21, I want to say, I was coaching a team in London at a climbing wall down there, and he was on the youth team. I couldn't keep his feet on the floor. The guy was off climbing every time I turned my back, and he was such a little climber, and I'm like, you're like obviously a full-grown human, and it again, just makes you feel really old. Easy from Jim.
He cruised it, didn't he? Right, a couple of moves to come, and we saw Stephen do really well here. Left heel, doesn't like it, changed it. Just goes for the jump.
Really good movement, really good on-the-fly movement from Jim. Obviously, like you said, tried it, didn't like it, changed it straight away. He flicked and flowed really well up that block.
Yeah, agreed. Right, so he gets that done very quickly, moves into second, just due to those attempts, and we stick with Catherine McDougall here.
Yeah, I mean, slab is her favourite style with Catherine. Again, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be your best block. It just means that you actually really enjoy getting stuck in.
We're having a look here at the feet of this boulder, because this seems to be where all the mistakes and slips are happening. Hopefully we can just go down a little bit so we can see really clearly. Yeah, there we go. Not a lot of angle on there to stand on.
No, I mean, the interesting thing about that volume is because you want to go right, the volume disappears further to the right to stand on. So you get less and less volume in front of you to lean in, so you actually become more and more vertical. So even though the volume sticks out quite far, it gets worse for you as you start to move towards the next hold. Now Catherine making smooth progress. She's on the penultimate hold here before even moving out to the next volume.
Yeah, and of course claiming the zone as well. She really stretched out, but holds that right hand.
Yeah, really smooth climbing. We've got to trust the feet, and then she's got to make a decision for this top hold. Unfortunately, a thumb pop.
I had a look at that hole for a long time. I walked as far back as I could. I walked left and right. You cannot see which bit of it is good, and it's going to be so interesting to see if someone reads it right or makes it work by holding the wrong bit of it.
Yeah, and should boulderers actually be bringing out binoculars? You see see rope climbers doing it in routes. Obviously, they've got to look up so far.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can't see the top of a boulder. Can you?
That's a very good. I honestly never even thought about that. Yeah, I've never seen it. There we go. IFSC athletes.
Get your binoculars out for the blocks.
Right, Catherine with a zone in 3. We'll go again with a minute on the clock. Out she goes over to the right. So a lot of people are talking about shoes, and she's wearing Scarpa shoes, which are one of the sponsors of this event, and very soft are those Dragos out there.
Really good for this style of volume, actually. You get quite a lot of surface area, and you're not going to get kind of any lift if you don't want it to lift.
Try to do it very statically up to the top there.
Yeah, well, I don't think she really needs to go for it like as much as the other. She's 167 centimeters tall. Overshooting for her could almost be worse than actually just trying to reach up early.
Yeah, it's a good point. But she's slipped twice, so needs to make an adjustment, and just 30 seconds, although she's getting through the bottom very quickly now. There's the zone. Oh, wraps those fingers around it, thumb engaged.
Those holds, the left-hand hold that she's on right now, the little nubbin, is not good. It's not good at all.
Well, that is the nubbin. Is that what we're looking at there?
That was the nub, but that was also her chance to stay on then, and it's gone.
Yes, so she has to leave with a shake of her head as well. Frustrating for the women.
Yeah, this is a lot of close calls, but I think it's going to be a really good splitter. This, in terms of if the other blocks end up being quite close, every time somebody slips off, it's a split in the scores. So it's not nice for them, but it's better for the route setters.
Very good. Yeah, we want that separation. And that flash of Izzy on boulder number 1 is such a big mark to be had for this comp. And there she is back in action. So can she repeat the magic on this climb?
Yeah, favourite style of block is slab with 3 exclamation marks.
Ooh.
So we'll see if her style of climbing kind of matches up to her favourite style of block.
I like the describe Plywood Master in 3 words on our form. She's just written F-U-N, so fun. Yes, creative, I like it. Right, tiptoeing these feet then. Let's see if those 3 exclamation marks mean a flash. Drops that right foot on, and looking good so far.
Yeah, she looks calm and composed. There's not too much going on with this block yet. I really think that this section now, so moving the feet up, hitting the right hand well, staying in enough to stay weight on the feet, and then, as we know, choosing what hold, top hold you want.
Yeah, oh, that technicality, building as you go, and the left hand bobbled, so she goes down. Sam launching.
Coming up a little bit short. I think you'll know next time to really rev it up a little bit more than that. He really needs to give it more beans.
So if Izzy can get this done, she will be firmly on top here. She's already got a zone. Looks right. This part she did well. It's the second half of the boulder that's caused the most problems. Into the nubbin. All about the thumb, isn't it? You've really got to engage it.
Yeah, and I think there's so much going on. You don't want your feet to slip. You're moving with the hands, outright to the volume, but you don't want your hand to slip off the zone. There's a lot to think about, and what I call splitting your mind within one move. You've got to think about 3 or 4 different things.
Wonderful footwork as well. One where she kind of heel hook, pressing in just to be able to reset her body a bit. That's really cool to see. Right, let's see if Sam can give it a bit more oomph this time. It's the heel hook by his hand there. You can't see it from my camera angle, but it's not a bad hold under there. Looked like he was in it, that right hand though. Ooh, shaking that out.
Yeah, he's slow to release the right hand on the jump. Again, kind of aiming for potentially 1-2 rather than a 1-2. A faster 1-2.
You mean? All right, Izzy's looked so good here, but it all goes to pieces at the end, and it'll be starting to play in her mind. She knows she's in front, would like to get this done.
She did pick up the brush last time, and she has brushed that zone. So I'm hoping that this is really going to help her stay on.
There's no saving it, isn't it? Once you're gone, she's already got a plaster on that left knee as well.
I always remember this particular feeling as well as like sand falling through the sand timer and it slipping away from you, and you're like, no, I know I can do it. I just need a little bit more, and you just don't always have it.
We're looking here at the men's first hold, which we can't see from our camera angle. This is the brilliant thing about our render. It's not bad, but you've got to match your heel to your hand. That's what makes it tricky. But this time, Sam is into the zone, and this is going to be a shot at the top then. Right toe driven in, hits the right hand. This is where Jim just... Oh, he's trying to get the heel that Jim didn't like. But he makes it work. Toe in, should be a top, and it is for Sam. So let's see where that leaves him on the leaderboard, and it puts him on the top spot.
That was a fine effort. I mean, still only one attempt to top away from Stephen. This is tight. This is tight in the top 2 spots. I mean, I think it'd be tight in the top 3 spots, but...
Yeah, similar kind of story to the semi-final. The men are topping more boulders. The women are having to scrap around for the zones more.
But the women are getting so close to the top of these blocks, and they're just not getting the rewards. There's just so top holds that have been touched and slipped off.
Yep.
They're doing so much climbing, but they're just not getting the points on the board to show for it.
It's why I like, and it might be controversial, I love the double zones from the Olympic format. I really think it rewards those athletes who get close but not quite finish the boulder.
Yeah, I mean, I also think mentally, as a climber, when you get given a target to go for, you're like, oh, I'm nearly there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you get a bit wobbly.
It is kind of nice to have. No, it's nice to have 2 zones to aim for rather than just one halfway up the wall. Especially when the route setters decide to put it as like the second to last hold, and you're like, oh, that's so far away.
I agree. All right, well, Max looks chill right now. Checks the clock, turns around.
Again, this will be great mental training for him. It is, yes, it's a local national comp for him, but equally, Toby's not going to give him an easy time. Sam and Steve are not giving him an easy time. He needs to hold this together mentally, because physically, he can do all of this.
No, agreed. And he's one of those athletes, he can just explode into certain moves. It's a bouncy one from him as well. All right, Holly teeters out right. Max goes. He fell off the first time. Has another go at this little adjustment with that right hand. He just reached for that.
Ah, Max.
Very strong from him into the zone. From here, it'd be hard to bet against him getting this done, but he's going to go for a gym star pogo. Nearly drops it, but catches the toe in. That is going to be a top for Max Milne.
In fair play, he felt confident enough on the wall and on those holds to do it static. He might have felt that jumping, whilst he's good at it, and while it might be his preferred style, might have felt a bit risky on that angle of wall. And he's like, you know what? I can do this static.
And it just throws down the gauntlet for everyone else, doesn't it, as well? Especially for a certain Toby Roberts waiting in isolation, because Max will go back quite early.
Yeah, with a 4 on the board for his first block, it's not the best start for him. However, we know that Toby can pull it back, and we have 3 more blocks to go.
I will stay with Holly right now. She tries to drag something back. She's getting a second, 2 zones in a few attempts, so she's done well.
And I think Holly's found herself in this position before a little bit in previous competitions where she's maybe not performed as she's wanted to in the opening sets and needs to compose herself. Sometimes she's done really well and actually held it together, but there have been instances I can remember where she's really struggled, and we're going to see which way that goes for her today, whether she can pull it back together or if it's just not going to be her day.
All playing out live in front of us as well, and the music has dropped to sort of tension tune, so yes, let's take a deep breath everyone as we come up to 1 minute 45 on the clock for Holly. And time spent on the wall for Max we're looking at here, basically none, just got it done pretty quick. Just over a minute.
I do feel like he's the guy having the most fun in every aspect of climb, whether he's in comp or travel or training or whatever. He's a funny one to follow.
Love his picture as well.
Yeah.
Recall me. Alright, so Holly has taken a moment, I think, to compose herself here. Let's see if it works. Up into the press. Careful with the feet as she looks out right. Drops the heels really flat onto that volume. Right on the tiptoes as well.
But just kind of watching, holding my breath, because I always feel like, the more breathing we do, the might wobble off. No, the opposite.
Oh, the opposite will scare off. Oh, there we go. We breathe too hard.
Just kind of want to just sit back and keep quiet and let her climb. But 40 seconds on the clock. She's got enough for one more go. Yeah, she's not looking that happy.
No, she almost immediately went into the shadows as if to hide for a second.
Get me out of here. Yeah.
But she's still in second place, in touch with Izzy as well. And 29 seconds is time for this. Up she goes. So, looks right again. This was the lovely move I enjoyed, but she just drops that heel down, slots it into place. And you can see the heel flatten as she puts weight on it into the nubbin. Oh, that left foot pops. She holds it though.
Good hold. Really good save from her. You can do this, Holly. Oh, Holly.
Yeah, well, she says goodbye on this one. So behind Izzy still. And that first go, was that almost on the wall for a minute there?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you kind of see that with climbers sometimes, especially on slabs when they're trying to figure it out. And then they have quicker subsequent goes because they found their micro beater and they're like, okay, we can follow through this a little bit quicker next time.
So, Toby, as you said, 4 attempts. I love how we've kind of written him off, like 4 attempts, far too many. He is still in touch, but it would be good to get this done fast in terms of his podium.
Yeah, it's not even that it's written him off, it adds all of that expectation and pressure onto himself, because he knows he can climb these blocks. He's got to not make an error, he's got to not slip up. And the further behind you fall on those attempts, the harder you make it yourself to pull it back and start flashing boulders.
All right, so game time for Toby then. Drops in.
I did wonder if he was going to do the same thing as Max. As soon as he put that left outside edge on, I was like, well, he's comfy on that undercut, isn't he? I mean, he's climbing up this like it's a V4 board problem.
Yeah, this is a statement from Toby. Hits the top. He's got to do it from here. Toe in. There we go. Well, have a look at the score. It's going to leave him in second at the moment, just behind Max.
I think there'll be good camaraderie between these two boys back in ISO as well. They'll probably be ribbing each other, knowing that it's close and they're not sure which one of them's going to take it.
Exactly. Well, let's come up, and as she climbs, we can see it in 3D. I want to see the nubbin, which is that zone hold up there. It hasn't got a zone on the graphic because it wasn't stuck on yet, but we go up towards that zone hold. There it is. Now, this is the one that has caused a few problems. Hard to see it there, but it's got a thumb, and you need to sort of push away.
It's like a miniature volcano.
Yeah, good way.
There's not really much going on there, and almost in a way, the harder you pinch it, the more you'll slip off because it's kind of cone shaped. But I always feel like you have to pinch it with the side of your finger and your thumb.
Yes, I'm doing that. Yes, I see what you mean.
Like nip it almost.
Okay. Yes.
And then really pull over it, like you said, and really use that thumb to stay on. But I think that's why it's slipping off so much, because that's not a natural way that we would hold a hold.
Yeah, good point. There's a lot going. It's like you said, having your brain in different places.
Hands, feet, all the different things going on.
My brain's barely in one place, like 4. So yes, you're doing very well here. And alone on the mats, of course, with 2 minutes to go. Thea qualifying in first position, but she's down in 4th at the moment. And that zone that we had that zoom in on, she hasn't got yet. So work to do here. And a big kick she's setting up for it. I think that might have been a bit too fast.
Yeah, again, with the left foot being so far right, she's going to need to give it a bit of a kick in order to generate her movement to the right-hand side. But any kind of wobble, any kind of kick out with the hips, even slightly, there's no room for error in getting your weight over your feet on this block. It'll be highlighted straight away and you'll be off quicker than you know it.
So here's the kick again.
You see her hips just pulling out from the wall. I don't know if that's because she doesn't feel good on her feet or something's kind of doing like a micro slip. That obviously we know that the crimps, they're good crimps, but they're not good enough. They're not good enough to start holding that amount of movement.
No, those feet are pretty terrible. We've seen a lot of slips on this, as we'd expect from a slab. I mean, that's kind of the point of a slab, is to slip down those feet or have perfect feet up into the corner with the press. And these are the crimps. Hits it this time with the right hand.
Really nice. Hips stayed in really close to the wall. There was no in and out movement.
This is much better, as I say it.
Also, interestingly, the same move that she's coming off as Holly before, so that step through.
Yeah.
Izzy was also falling off with that particular move. So it might be that the space that's then created between yourself and the wall starts to disappear. By stepping through, it really starts to tip you off top first.
Yeah. Oh, down again. Head a bit close to the wall for our liking, but that is it. Well, zones for the second boulder, but no tops on that one. And look at the difference between the men and the women's score. It's like a tale of two competitions here, isn't it? The men's is going to be cagey from now on. Everyone is going to be wanting to do it at as few attempts as possible, whereas for the women, it's just trying to send a boulder at this point.
It is, but I still think, like, looking at the scoreboard doesn't give a true reflection of the women's climbing, because even on block one, there was Holly, you got Thea, like, all going for the top moves and slipping off. In the slab, and Ember had a real struggle with the start, but everyone was getting up to the top move, and just so close for all of them, and no cigar.
Yeah, small mark. I'm enjoying it. I don't mind the cagey finals here. And it's certainly been interesting. Right, this is the stand-up that I think is disgusting. Onto the left foot where the screw is bigger than the hold itself. but it will feel okay, to be fair, on your climbing shoes. And he shows that getting stood up, but this is horrible now, dropping onto no-techs.
So that whole top surface, you can see your face in it, and hopefully no one's going to hit their face on it. They can be able to see their face incoming. But he's standing on a couple of mil of texture before it rolls off down the face of the volume. He's doing so well here, especially for a bit of a taller climber. Getting in that little box there, he's doing amazingly well.
This is the women who have a jumpy start, which she did quickly.
And this is what I thought was going to be starting to be the powerful move. So these undercuts that they're on, or the undercut that she's on, it's a good undercut, but that foot's so high. And the move's quite far, so you could see that she's really trying to flick up as high as she can. But again, with the hips moving out, it starts to shorten your reach.
Okay.
So as you pop up, you really need to drive your hips up and in, which feels odd because you're pulling on an undercut in order to go up the wall. It's all the forces are kind of working against yourself. If you get it right, you'll be able to have enough height to hit the handhold.
Okay, well, she's looking for that flow. Let's see if she can get it in the next attempt. Meanwhile, Stephen stands up. Nice and simple. This is this shiny surface we were talking about. That's the little dot there, the button.
I don't envy these boys having this block.
It's horrible, isn't it? But it gets worse as well.
So you can kind of see the rib of texture on the volume that they're standing on.
All right, let's look at the women's here as well. This run and jump start, flick to the left.
Yeah, a little pogo move. Doing that really smoothly, really nicely. Stephen keeping his cool. No.
There he goes. Look at this snatch there from Jessica. Falls. I think there's a left hand that went there. She looked down at her fingers there. Maybe hasn't done the best skin management, perhaps not expecting to get this far and just kind of giving it everything in semis.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just don't have a choice, do you? If you don't give it all, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. You can't save skin if you don't. You know, you just got to do these boulders. But she's cruising this first move as she falls off. It's that left hand that she's got some problems there with the fingertips.
Yeah, just hope she's not gone through one. Yeah. Obviously, she will need to tape up if that is the case, and nobody likes climbing with tape on.
No. Yeah, the judges do watch for blood. We can't allow blood on the wall, so if they see any, they'll stop it. Or not stop it, but make her put tape on. And it looks like she's going back with that left hand causing problems, and I think you can see that. Liquid chalk on, trying to patch up the issue. Which doesn't work that well. It stings a lot as well.
Well, it does sting a lot. It does, yeah, it's got alcohol in it to dry it out. But Stephen opting for a tactical foot change. Foot change. Take my foot off. I mean shoe change.
I didn't see it. Did he do right and left or two shoe changes?
He sat on the floor doing.
Right,
I think.
okay.
I think it might be two.
So he's going for a full tyre change. So and look, she is taping up now. So yeah. So we've got two issues going on. We have Jessica taping up, and we have got a different shoe. So we've got Flagship Pro on Flagship on the right, and then I don't know what is on the left. I think it's
it's a Vim. It's a Vim.
Okay.
It's an older style that they brought out a while ago. I don't think they do it anymore, but it was one of my favourite shoes. It's a slipper, but it's a slightly stiff slipper.
Interesting then. So gone old school on this one. Oh, that left foot coming off the button and limping a bit there. He's not going to have enough time. He'll say goodbye. Has Jessica got enough time? I don't think so. And I think probably might have wanted to have saved some skin there.
Looks like she's gone through on the other hand now as well.
All gone. She looks at the judges for some confirmation about the blood. Hopefully she'll go and do some repair work. I think she's just showing the setters where she was bleeding, which it might have been everywhere.
Yeah, you can see they've got the cleaning fluids there as well with the spray. Again, you could talk about conditions for the next climbers coming through. They will try and make it as fair as possible, but as you know, as bottom line, we can't have blood on the wall.
Done. So that will be cleaned up, and we'll probably have a little pause here. So Finn is looking super chill, and there's Ember who you can just sort of see the emotions with her bubbling underneath the surface. She took a deep breath there, but she's going through some things.
Yeah. She looks like a girl who has a lot of expectations on herself, even at 16. She has been competing for in and around 10 years. She started in Youth D.
Yep.
So she knows what she's doing. And again, as with all comp climbing, you've got to put it all together on the day. It doesn't matter how strong you are in training or how good you feel. It's about what you end up performing like on the wall.
Absolutely, and we're watching on the 3D render where she is on the actual wall. You can see it's a pretty good hold under there, but the foot position is awkward. You've got to do a big move now up to the dish, as she was low on that one.
Yeah, and that's where I think that foothold being as high as it is, it's really not as straightforward and as easy as it looks.
No. 100%. Big holds, hard moves is often the case. So, gets stood up on the no text. That little line, I can see it down the edge he's standing on.
Yeah, he's choosing actually to not go anywhere near. Oh, we're changing our mind. We're slipping down.
We are, aren't we? Slidey, slidey.
I just hope he stops on the texture and doesn't carry on and just disappear.
There it is.
Good effort.
That was control there from him. And matches as well, padding the feet in.
That's where I'd be talking to myself. Please don't slip. Please don't slip. Just keep going.
Just keep
going.
Right, onto this triple stacked zone hold. Just a little touch in order to move position. Good setting, that.
It's good setting. There's the step through. Again, we talked about doing step throughs on a slab and how hard it can be because it moves your centre of gravity away from the wall. But when the footholds are that poor, there's no other way of getting around it. Yeah. She's got a knee bar in there.
Oh, she has. That's awesome.
It is awesome. It's not going to help her get higher, though. It's going to drag you down, if anything. It looked like she wanted to get a second foot involved.
She can chalk up, though, which is cool.
Yes. Somebody's taken their chalk bag with them.
Yes.
Although her T-shirt looks like it's getting in the way of her actually being able to use it. Always put your chalk bag strap over your T-shirt.
And Leah's coaching tips. You need to return to this. You're so good at it. Right, sliding down towards the friction. You'll see his shoe stop if he hits it properly. Boom! There we go. Landing on that friction. Little undercling. It's thin, that right hand. And then you can see the spot of rubber on the next hold. And he'll plant that foot onto that spot.
Yeah, big footholds. Big footholds
Yes.
for a slab. And actually, the edge on them is really quite decent.
Yeah.
It just looks a bit scary sometimes because they're so slopey. Looking in really good control, but then having a falter just towards the end. And I think that's something that you can see when climbers start to think about going for the handholds. They almost falter a little bit, maybe get a bit too concentrated on getting to the handhold and not what position the rest of their body is in. Mm-hmm. And that handhold isn't big enough to be in the wrong body position.
All right, so a thinker game. It's interesting because the men have kind of been having quite physical, throwy boulders, and this really slows the pace down and makes them concentrate here. This is the slide down the horrible slab to the bit of friction.
He's got it dialed though, like he knows what that move is. He can move through it with relative flow. Every time I say it falls off. I'm just going to shut up.
Well, no, please don't do that. You are keeping this thing going here. But we'll try to get a shot of that on our render, that little bit of texture, because I'd love to see it. And Ember, she had to talk to herself before she started climbing. She's going to have to do it again, although has got the zone on this. Out she comes. Wild kick without a leg there.
Good hold. She's trying hard. Ember, fair play.
10 seconds to go. Creeps out right. Hits the mint volume, which you said is pretty good.
Got to get moving. Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
so
no.
is he? No.
Oh, no. I mean, he wouldn't have had time to match that top hold anyway. He was on 1 second on the thumb sprag, so that was nearly a buzzer beater, but I think he'd have needed maybe another 5 or 6 seconds to top that block.
All right, next couple out then. Jim Pope, underway, or will be very soon. See the time on the wall there. She got a bit staccato-y at the end, kind of a couple of low falls between 3 and 4 minutes in.
Yeah, so Ember being one of the shorter climbers, contrast to Catherine being one of the taller climbers. We'll see how that differs in ability to get in that gap underneath the undercut, how much they need to fire up or not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, height for me in climbing is fascinating because I think it obviously really changes the style and what people do. I think it's a big bone in climbing, if you know what I mean, and that a lot of people complain about short climbers and tall climbers, but
just a bit. We're just having a look at the render here now. That line where the chalky bit is, that is the thing they're landing on when they slide down.
That's the texture.
Yes. And it's not a lot to slide onto there. You can see it right where the crosshair is. That's what they're sliding into. Great angle there to show it. So you've got to be accurate with this one.
Yeah, and I think you can really see where Jim's placing his foot there, how kind of more obvious that is. It's literally a couple of mil that they're standing on.
He did that very well to get through to the zone. Pulling upwards, which is a weird move to do on a boulder wall. You don't often see that sort of
Yeah.
pull-up undercling thing.
Yeah. Again, I think on a slab, because you kind of end up in these weird contorted positions. Little foot pop from Jim. Yeah, you end up in these weird contorted positions on slab, and I think you always see moves that you're like, how is that even working? But when you're on, you're like, it's working somehow, I don't know how, and I'm just going to go with it.
Don't think too hard.
Yeah.
Well, none of the men getting the top yet. They've come close. And Catherine eyes up this jump, flicks over, lands it nicely into the big undercling. That's the knee bar, if you want it.
Yeah, the knee bar's not going to get you there, but I think long levers for this move, you can see how far out from the wall her hips are to reach up. Being on an undercut and being really tall sometimes can feel really, really, really powerful, but then you don't have to kind of go as far.
Yeah.
So 6 and 2 3s.
See if she can figure that one. Jim, meanwhile, gets stood up on the first slab. He doing a slightly different method here. Drops now into the line of texture. Into the underclings. Slides the foot down. Over the top. Nearing the point where he had the foot bobble before.
You can see his little gurn. He is trying there with a little shake. Tekka's is Jim is a technical climber. He's got that in his repertoire. But when it's this kind of like weird, awkward, not much space to move slab, I don't think anyone really finds it that comfortable.
No, agreed. Oh, that's a big one. It's okay, but her face basically reflected our faces in the commentary box. Jim meanwhile has a little slide down the button. Not liking this suddenly, maybe rushing a bit here.
Yeah, Stephen just pulled on.
Yeah.
He just like literally pulled on, but the step up for Jim is going to be so much higher. So he's almost like trying to mantle the top of the volume in order to slow down enough to put his feet on.
I think there's a few fingernails in there as well as he crimps the top of the volume. Oh no, the foot goes, and you can just sense that Jim's going backwards right now. Needs to find something. And Catherine's been quite low on this. Needs to really boost up. Watch those hips pressing in.
Nice.
There you go. It's awkward, isn't it? Because your elbow kind of gets trapped in your hips as you do that move.
And this is what I mean by it's weird on the undercut, because you want to pull, you want to pull yourself up the wall, but you kind of can't. You need to bounce up the wall, pull in, and then hope that you can hit the handhold like she just did. But then because she was so far out from the wall, she's slipping off that right hand.
Yeah. Oh no. It might have cost her some power. That 8 seconds. We're not going to see a top here, I don't think. And Jim has already got the zone. 2 seconds, 1. He's going to just jump for it.
He knows. I was going to say.
Well, no tops again for the men. No, for the women. One top of Izzy's standing clear there at the moment. That is a big separator from the rest of everyone, and she's back on now. If she can top this third boulder, she's really in for a possible win here.
She's on the podium if she tops this. Like, definitely on the podium if she tops this next boulder. Yeah. Obviously, Holly being defending champion from last year. The men, none of the men have won Plywood Masters for the men's side. So it's all to play for. Aidan Roberts isn't here, who's won it for the past 2 years. So Aidan Dunn, sorry. Definitely not Aidan Roberts.
I was about to say, I was watching that last year. I don't remember Aidan Roberts. No, Aidan Dunn looked really good last year as well.
Yeah. So it's anyone's game for the men's at the moment.
Yes, and I think Max and Toby would love to walk away, but Stephen is currently on top, so we'll have to see. Izzy, now, this is a huge moment for this comp if she can get this. She's very close, brings the right foot up, now drops it down. Oh, wow. A skip, can she get this final hold? She's got one hand in it. She does match it. That is massive for Izzy there.
It is massive. Like even bigger that it was her second attempt as well. Again, she is applying pressure to these girls in isolation.
Oh, turning those screws. Well, she'll go off with a bounce in her step, and her head is held very high as she exits. There you can see her coming across our screen. Okay, Sam. Oh, those muscles standing out as he shaking on that left leg.
It's a tiny box to be in. Like when I say box, the kind of like square space that they have to actually fit themselves into. Foot to hand here, really needing to step up and keep into the wall, so hips in as tight as they can. I think, sorry to keep it's cutting you in, but I think it's such a hard movement when you need to catch something with the hands, but you also have to plant the foot as well as being able to stay into the wall. There's so much going on there. It's a real complex move, even though it looks like one tiny little move.
Yeah, and this is the thing with slabs, isn't it? It looks pretty simple, and often at home you can just be like, just stand on the volume. There's just so much more going on than that.
Yeah, and there's no room to not be good at slabs anymore, especially in competition. Your weighted pull-ups will only get you so far. You need to be able to move on a slab properly, trust your feet, know exactly what to think about when you need to do specific things, because that's also different for each person.
Yeah.
And recognizing movement patterns and being able to execute that really quickly separates the best climbers, obviously, from the rest of the field.
And we're seeing coaches respond to that. I mean, in America for the TC, they've got a no-hand slab section purely for that alone, you know.
Yeah.
And more facilities are bringing it in.
Yeah, I think obviously back in the day there was almost a bit of a joke in that Americans weren't really known for their slab climbing because all their walls were so steep, but that's just not the case anymore. Look at Brooke. Look at Natalia. They're just weapons on a slab.
Yeah, they are indeed. Right, Sam creeping down. Oh, that right foot. He's just got a bit of the shakes here. Shows how hard he's trying. You don't want to be shaking on a slab. He's got to keep things steady. Well, that's interesting. Very low to chalk up.
He's like, I want to lift his fringe up a bit so he can see, but I'm sure he knows what he's doing.
Just going to give him a haircut in isolation. All right. All right, well, he matches that foot to the hand. It's not comfortable, but he now trusts it, and he can't adjust it now. So whatever position it's in, he's got to stick with it for this move.
Yeah, it's a hand on, foot on, hips in. Just a little jitter with the right foot. I think he hit the hold high and was starting to like judder down it, and it just knocked him off balance.
I think you're right. Finds the left foot. Right, gets stood out to the right, drops down to the friction here, creeps down to an underclink. Feet in.
Just taking a few breaths just to compose himself. He knows he can do it, but he's only going to get a 3-second buzzer.
Not a lot of time. He's going to have to go. There's no buzzer, in fact, but the time does type out.
Close. No. Very close. No cigar.
Yeah, men's 3 proving difficult as we come up to the last 2. Sam in the lead. Max, though, if he manages to get close, could jump up, as could Toby coming up. And Holly, meanwhile, sitting in 3rd and would like to get something here to move her up into that silver medal position.
I think this will be the one where we can start to see where Holly's head's at. You know, the first 2 blocks haven't gone her way. Is she going to get on and, execute this boulder? Or I'm hoping her mind isn't going to get the better of her here. This is a boulder Holly can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, Holly. Swings left.
Easy.
Yeah, super confident with that catch, eh? Matches now. Keep an eye on Max as well. Pings off. And Holly's got a knee as well. It doesn't help too much, as you say, but just maybe moves. You move close.
I think what that does, though, is it really shortens the amount of bounce that you've got up into that undercut, and you could see she was coming up a bit short there. We'll see if she puts the knee bar in again next time, or if she just commits to that bounce off the undercut straight away.
Yeah. Some people were talking about that button, saying, is it painted on the slab? No, it is a hold, but it is miniature. No texture on it. The screw is almost as big as it itself.
Cut a grape in half and stick it on a volume. That's about as big as it is, and it's full shiny plastic.
Well, there it is as we zoom through. He's moved past that now. We can see the screw in the middle. It's a tiny bit.
Maybe it's more of half a blueberry.
What was the famous Olympic quote? Pennies on the wall, right? That's what they're climbing on. You're kind of correct in this case. Right, left foot driven into that zone hold. Steps out confident from Max. This is good.
Really good, like hand-eye coordination with the hands. His foot, it did falter a little bit, but it didn't affect him, and his hips stayed dead still on the wall.
He just needs fingertips. He's got 2 hands on it. Wow. While Max, with 2 attempts, moves firmly into the top spot there, and a deep breath of relief, I think, from him.
Yeah, I think that'll really settle him a little bit. Now he knows he's got that in the bag.
So Holly reaches up.
Oh, there's me thinking that she was going to commit to a full bounce, and then she's still trying to put the knee bar in and do it static.
Yeah, well, maybe if you'd have to be uber tall to get that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, she must feel like she can do something with it to be trying it.
Yeah. Minute 51 here as she resets. And that was Max's time. Now, what I'm interested in this render is how far into it she has to go, because we keep seeing them reaching up and slapping the edge of it. You do have to go quite deep to get the good that pocket.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when you come in below, so far below a hold, because you don't necessarily know how far the back is, and I think sometimes you can actually go too far and hit the back and bounce back out.
Yeah.
Hitting this perfectly is going to be a hard task for the climbers, but you can also see from this render it's the slopey side that they've put as the hold and not the flatter side, which is actually at the top of the circle. So route sets have been lovely there and put the hard part on, but these girls are strong, so that, you know, they needed to.
Yep.
But it's not a given. Even if you get that hold, it's not a given that you're going to move off it.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if Holly can reach herself into this hold. Here's the undercling. Looks up.
Go on, bounce, Holly.
That's
There we
better.
go.
Dragging those fingers on the hold.
I think she'll be in now. She can hop this foot up like Izzy. Yeah. There we go.
Well,
Stop fapping with those knee bars and get on with it.
Holly back in business, moves into second position, and that is a gutsy climb from her after those tricky first two boulders. And the smile returns, which is good to see.
Yeah.
Right, so she will leave, and we will have our final climber out. Now, everyone, because we're piggybacking off Toby's channel here, could you do me a favour? Number one, hammer that heart button, and number two, let's get him some followers. He doesn't need that many, he's already got loads, but let's give him some more. So make sure you subscribe to Toby's channel and hit the heart button to show your appreciation, because it's a lovely platform to be on here. And Toby will just clean up the boulder. Smart from him, not panicking. You know, use some of your time to do the boulder, to clean the boulder.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have... He obviously could ask someone to brush it, but we don't just have brushes that are running up and in straight away. So it's nice that he's cleaning and he's putting a little bit of time into prep. He knows that will matter. So it's a wise use of his time to just make sure it is clean, because if a slip, he's gonna blame that on a dirty block.
He's not using the line of friction here currently.
Well, he might be about to.
He's edging it down, isn't he? I think he wanted to stand it for a second.
I was going to say, I think he might change his mind in a second.
But full foot on it, which is interesting. He's kind of blocked it for the left foot.
Yeah, he'll be able to pivot it well enough. I mean, it won't be the first time he's stood on no techs.
He was very confident on it, didn't he?
Yeah, the volume is big, so as long as you're kind of confident in your ability to do that and you feel comfortable enough to stand on it, like I would not. I've not stood on it enough and I would be terrified.
Yeah, me too. It's scary, especially when you can see the lights reflecting in it.
That was... So, Toby, before standing up and getting ready to stand up, he actually came from holding the zone all the way up. That was a fantastic movement, and to kind of do that on site, he doesn't look comfy.
No.
But there's many a position that Toby's not looked comfy, and just committing really into this groove.
I tell you, I'm watching this live, and the muscles standing out on his elbows to make that push move. Let's wait for the score. I think he's going to stay in second on that one.
He is. He's one attempt behind Max. So for them, it really is all down to this last block.
Shaping up nicely, as is the women's comp. But right now, this is Thea, who's got 3 zones so far. No tops.
Come on. Yeah, so I really do think that this moves a balance. The more that the girls are standing up into that undercut statically, it's pulling them back down. It's working against them.
She's got a concerned look on her face there. I think it's a thinking face rather than a worried face.
Yeah, which she's trying to figure out why that didn't feel well, what to change next time.
Tell you what, YouTube has just exploded after Toby did that one. People can't believe the flash on it. People are pointing out he's the Olympic gold medalist, but that was impressive stuff from Toby. Thea, meanwhile, is deep in contemplation.
And also, he was the Olympic gold medalist back in the Olympics. Mm-hmm. Do you know, he's had time off, he's still in his training, he's going to be a different climber now.
Have you just written Toby off?
No, not at all, but it's like the expectation of what someone's done in the past is going to be carrying on forward, and the hardest thing for a climber to do and to be is consistent. Yeah. The hardest thing.
And the expectation of him is big. Thea, meanwhile, wow, crimps that drag. One move away, she's going to top it as well. Oh, nearly didn't.
There's the sigh of relief, dropping down.
I thought I cursed her there. Well, she moves into the bronze provisional place on that.
Yeah, and like really, again, looking at her graph, like really kind of tactical attempts. She knows that she can do the move. She just needs a little bit of a rest. She did look quite tired coming out to block 1, if we remember, on the black holds. She did do a lot of climbing with no score, so in a way, not surprised that she's having those rests in between that attempt, because it was a powerful undercut move.
Yeah, it was indeed, and she got it done. So we move on. 4th boulder, the final one, and this is one I can't wait to see because we've got the upside down knee bar coming up. So the time is called.
So this is the committing move for the women if they get to the top move. There's a little bit of kind of jiggery pokery at the bottom in order to get established on top of the hat. You could say, on the top hat.
Jiggery pokery to get on top of the hat.
Yeah,
this is climbing we're talking about, everyone.
Well, isn't that what climbing is now, though, isn't it? It's kind of theatrics on the wall. You don't know what you're going to be you don't know what's going to be thrown at you.
No. And there is this change from the render, remember, if we see that. So there's a thumb catch here now. She's going for the big jump.
Oh, she was close. Fair play for committing to that.
But didn't she have blood? Wasn't she the one with the gone through the fingers?
I think, she probably has. You can see from this angle of the camera, there is a thumb catch on the volume, and you can see a little bit of chalk on the volume. That might just be something that she's not seen. No. Maybe she thinks it's, I don't know, for something else. But normally, when you put thumb catches on things, it's not always completely obvious as to what it is.
I'm just worried that she's going to be sliding down that hat and ruining those fingers even more, so we'll have to see.
So this is the position Stephen's in, where he's technically still in the start position.
Yes, he's done one move.
Yeah.
Oh. That was physical underneath.
But the next big hold that you can see up on the lip is the bonus. I did ask, this is a Jan block, I did ask him about sort of different heights of climbers and how this was going to fare. He did say that all of them had been on it, and it's not a comfortable position to be in, but it was doable for all of them.
The words he used to me was, you feel like your eyes are about to pop out of your head. So,
I mean, a really good transition of weight from Stephen. He did slip off the first move, so it is his second attempt.
Is he trying to fig 4 there, trying to wrap the legs over for a moment? And now she wraps that left leg over the hat, but what an awkward mantle to do. There's more leg than hand skin in action here.
Come on, Jessica.
Oh, this is awkward. Tries to get sat on it, and she does now. Wicked. I love it when that happens in a comp. Now she uses this jib underneath. Looks at that bleeding. She will want to try to disguise that a little bit. Right behind your leg, exactly. We can't see it. Now, next move. Now, there is an edge up here, apparently, like a bit of a line to hold on to. Googly eyes as well.
Googly eyes. Yeah, I mean, I feel like she wants...
That's the hold on the render.
I do feel like she wants to be facing in if she can somehow.
She's trying to suck some of that blood away, isn't she? Up towards it. Very awkward. She's got to turn, I guess?
Yeah, I feel like turning is what she needs to do. Maybe she's going to do a half turn in midair.
Oh, the press. I think she would have done better to have rotated kind of almost while sitting, but it's very awkward then. You've got to stand up.
Super awkward. Obviously, the wall in front of her is overhanging. It's going to be right in your grill when you don't want it to be. Trying to not fall off backwards, which is always a great feeling.
Yeah, and there will be a delay here for the women because blood checks are going on. As you can see, we saw her sucking away the blood. She knew it was going to come, and she's been told to tape up now, so this will be costing her time, and she's only got 40 seconds. That could have been her best opportunity gone in terms of topping that one.
Yeah, this is a slow block. The girls are going to have to move either really slowly and successfully, or really quick.
3D of these holds at the beginning. We zoom in. There is a knee bar in here, but there's a no-tex plate kind of in the middle where the crosshair is now. Obviously slippy. Squeaky, you described it as.
Squeaky. And ideally, I think as competitors, you'd have your shorts on for this because there is a no-tex in there. The setters have put that in there as well, so that ideally the climbers aren't going to lose all the skin on their legs. So nice. That was nice of the setters.
Which is unusual for them.
Yeah.
I think, Jessica is done. What a fight from her. She will stay in 4th place at the moment, but little blood left on the wall from her as she will say goodbye.
I mean, what a fantastic pump for her. She's not actually going to move anywhere. Catherine has only got 2 bonuses, so she can't be overtook by either Ember or Catherine. Like, she didn't even expect to be in the final, yet here she is, one place off podium.
Pretty cool, hey? Good work from Jessica. Good days climbing. Ember then has looked a bit nervous throughout this competition, and you can kind of see it reflected perhaps in her results. One zone so far. Of course, an opportunity here to get a top on the board, which would jump her up into, well, quite high up. People are asking about this blood issue. Yes, you cannot bleed on the hole. So if judges spot blood, they will stop you. You have to tape it up, and you don't stop your time to do that. So some of the athletes literally practice speed taping. Oh, massive helicopter.
But relatively in control. Like, that was it was over very quickly for her. So great core tension there, and like shoulder stability in order to stop that movement.
Yeah, you're right. And I love this wrap around with the heels as well. She's choosing to wear trousers. I wonder if that will help or hinder this move.
I'd be cursing the centres at this point, going, "Oh, guys, come on."
Yeah, you don't want to bleed on the hole, but a bit of skin is sometimes useful.
Yeah.
And she's been here a while as well in this position. Has a chalk bag. The thing is, the longer you stay there, the harder it is to do the mantle.
It is, and like, obviously we've all done mantles before, and it's something that lower in walls, but just this particular style, with it being like, with having the negative space underneath you, you've got nothing to push off. That's why they're getting literally all their arms and legs involved. It's not easy, and what I mean by that is, like, there's no comfortable position. It's not like you're like, oh, I've got it, here I go. You just have to battle on through it and see if you end up on top of the hold or back down on your bum on the mat.
Yeah, exactly. And it happens in a heartbeat, doesn't it, on a mantle? And it's a very physical move, so we'll have to see if she's got anything left. Stephen, what am I talking about? Finn's tape flew off his finger then when he slipped down. So that's gone on the mat somewhere.
Also, with the blood thing, it's not even that if you bleed on the wall, it's that actually if you're bleeding full stop. So if your shin is bleeding, or like the back of your hand, the judges will stop you and ask you to cover it, because there's a chance it could go on the wall.
Yes, and it's one of those things we sometimes see in early comps, especially comps like this when you've got 30 boulders in the qualifying session. The comp kind of starts in the qualies. You don't want to overdo it and lose skin on boulders unnecessarily. Ember jumping out. Obviously, they won't be thinking about that at the time, but, you know, you can kind of overdo it in quali, ruin your fingers, and your next day is then uphill for you.
Yeah, and all these climbers will be feeling it tomorrow, because, you know, in training, when you might do a lot of volume of climbing, but you do 30 boulders in qualies, you do all your semis blocks, but you are trying 100%. Then you've got your finalists as well that are climbing. You just don't do this level of try hard in training.
This is so much better. She gets stood up and she will have a deep breath here. What a weird place to be in.
But we did talk about how long that kind of move has taken, and this might be her one and only shot of this top part of the block.
Might be, and suddenly you're facing the crowd who are cheering for you. It's a lot to deal with as she reaches up underneath. We saw this in the render. Not bad, but now she's thinking about turning early, which I think is smart on this.
Yeah, I think going side on might help a little bit, but just getting that Gaston or thumb catch in order to creep, and then there'll be a certain point where she feels like she has to jump. There it is.
Yes. Well done, Ember. That is awesome to see. And a pull up at the end. Look at the scoreboard. She jumps up and might go further. Yes, into fourth there.
She jumped up. I was up nearly up out my seat then. That was just... Oh, I'm so stoked for her. That was such a cool move.
Yeah, I am too. Like, you know, personality means quite a lot. You could just see how much it meant to her out there. It's just a lovely moment.
I mean, there's me saying that Jessica can't move down. She's in fourth, but that was just sort of completely forgetting that, you know, Catherine or Ember could actually top this block. That was bad of me. I apologise.
No, I thought the same thing. So she's up to fourth now. Good work from Ember. So, Catherine's turn out there, and Jim Pope as well.
I'm stoked for Ember. That was like moment of the comp for me.
It is, and YouTube loved it as well. The hearts are flying. Thank you very much for that. Keep sending them in, especially when someone does something cool. We definitely want to see those coming through. All right, Jim, let's see if you can do some comp weirdness here as he gets in this knee bar, toe around the corner. Comfortable from Jim. Up through the first moves. Gets established, and now quickly into...
Ooh.
Yep,
Maybe that's what he thought when he did that as well.
I think he did. He sort of went for the pinch and realised there's no text there. I think that's a rethink that one.
Yeah, actually, Jim's wrong-handed here, so you can see his left hand down on the undercut, but he needs that left hand down up on the gas stop by his head. I mean, he's done it anyway by some weird backhand finger sprag.
You used to coaching. This is your teaching in action here.
No, Jim's his own climber now. This has nothing to do with me.
Right, wraps himself into the zone. He's not enjoying it.
I mean, he's kind of not reading it weird. This is better. Now he can get into that space underneath. Yeah, this is really good. Then he's got to swivel the left hand to come round. And then it'll be if he can give it enough of a pop for this top hold.
And Catherine, meanwhile, is kind of stuck on the protrusion there, down on the bottom right. Jim is close. One move away. Catherine falls.
Good left foot bump. He needed that height, but that undercut is so much in your chest. And it creates such an overhang. I'm not surprised he's stood with his hands on his hips, massaging his bicep.
Yeah, it's a very, very physical move. Remember what the setter said, eyes popping out of your head in terms of physicality. And just because you have to sort of take deep breaths, you're really straining. So full on for Jim, and you can see him stretching out. Almost like delayed pump came in there.
I don't always feel the pain, though, when you're on a block, because you're trying so hard. It's only when you come back down and you're like, ow, that really hurt.
Yes. Absolutely, yeah. And he certainly went through those emotions out there. And now he's having to brush as well, so he had to recover quickly. Someone's saying, Jim brute force Pope. Quite like that.
Sometimes he can be like Jim Finesse Pope, though.
That doesn't sound as good, though.
No, but I do feel like he can pull different ones out the bag.
He's very talented. I mean, look, the climbs he does outdoors, especially. We're talking about the outdoor tri-climbs I've forgotten the name of.
Dynamics have changed.
Dynamics have changed. That horrendous Pete Whittaker heel hook move thing. He did that recently. So he is very techie, all-round climber. So Catherine is back on here. Little toe catch at the beginning to hold this first move. Set has changed that first move, made that right hand a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, ironic that they put the thumb catch on to help do that move.
No one's using it.
They're like, nah, thanks. We'll just we'll just launch ourselves for the hat.
Oh, who would be a setter, eh? Nightmare. So Catherine needs to figure out this mantle. She was stuck kind of here for a long time before.
Yeah, interestingly, she's trying to mantle, not necessarily getting the leg involved. And when we've seen Ember on it before, she was using the undercuts of the volume to like lever herself up with. It's easy to get lost in this section, in my opinion.
I know.
There's just too much going, too many limbs, too many things.
Yeah, and you can see she's changed limbs. Jim's a move away, though, as well. Oh, what is he holding on to? What is he holding on to?
I thought he was about to go for the slippy mantle as well.
Unreal from Jim, there. Oh, Catherine slips down. I don't know if she's got that. Well, no, she hasn't. I think we've been timed out anyway.
Catherine's starting to fade there.
Yeah.
But again, into the final Plywood Masters, it's no small feat. Fair play to her for literally battling it out to the end.
Yeah, good stuff. As we tick down towards the end of our competition here, the athletes will be now allowed to watch because it's finished. Although they are facing away from the wall, which is interesting. Oh, there we go. Now they're not. So the other athletes will watch, and we have Sam here cleaning up the black volumes. And our current leader as well is in action here, Izzy. Now, if she gets this, and she's very close to winning this thing at this point, I think it's going to come down to how quickly Holly could do it, theoretically.
Yeah. I mean, obviously her top is going to secure that.
Goes feet first.
Oh. She's got the zone, so it would mean that Holly has to top.
Okay.
In order for her to beat her. Because now she's on 2 tops, 2 zones. Holly's on 2 zones and 1 top.
Okay,
so for her to get Holly to get the zone, it wouldn't be enough.
Alright, so Holly needs to do big things in a minute, but right now it's all about Thea, and she can sew things up if she gets this done.
Yeah, Thea could also take it. Again, it depends on attempts.
Yeah. But if Izzy gets it...
Yeah, she's in. She's got 3 tops.
So this is a big moment for her here.
Yeah. Facing the other way. I don't necessarily think that'll matter too much. It will just depend on how she sets up for this top move. It just means she's jumping backwards.
I think she's looking so confident here, but no, the pinch!
So I think with Ember kind of facing to the right, it meant she was jumping towards the hold. With Izzy jumping backwards, again, that's generating movement and momentum with the hips out away from the wall. And she's on a slopey pinch.
Yeah.
That's not going to help you. So if she can figure that out, face to the right, of the room before going to the thumb catch or the Gaston or however she was holding it. That would be way better for her.
We're having a look at what Jim held on to, which is quite good here. It's
Nothing.
no nothing. I honestly don't know what he was doing.
That thing is so slippy. I mean, if you've got any of these in your local gym, just go and try and hold the slippy part because it's not possible.
No, it's gross. It was awesome work from him. But Sam right now, and Izzy had her head in her hands when she came down. She knew what that drop meant, or what it would have meant if she'd held it. So pressure for her now. Doesn't want to leave the door open for others. All right, gets sat, pressing down, wiggles herself onto the hold. Thumb catch to come. Can she just seal the deal here? Up she goes. Minute and a half. It's plenty of time. Doesn't want to rush it. She knows what it feels like now. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it is a better position for her to jump from.
No, the left goes.
Oh, she's still got time.
Yeah.
She's still got time.
I'm actually genuinely quite excited by this one because Izzy is right on the verge of something special here. And the audience are too. You can see them leaning forward, sitting, watching every moment of this brilliant competition here at Boulder UK Gym at Plywood Masters. My name is Matt Greenman with Leah Crane in the commentary box, and we're watching our final 6 athletes who have been qualifying over the last couple of days to get to this point, and it's all to play for right now as Sam locks in these knees.
Yeah, we've got helpful spectators online just letting us know that Izzy has already won. Just looking at the maths, Holly did take 3 attempts already to do 1 block. And Izzy's topped 2 and 3, so.
But she won't know that. And
Izzy does not know
that. And for her, she thinks she's got to top this to win the thing, or like secure it. So it's cool to see that from an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, technically the climbers aren't meant to communicate in isolation when they go back in anyway, so there will be definitely no chat of attempts and how many it took you, and you're not going to know if someone's done it in 1, 2 or 3, especially if it was like a quick boulder, or if you slipped off the start really fast and then couldn't go up. That look of disappointment on her face, I'm sure she's going to turn around and look at her coaches and they'll tell her. And the look on her face might change.
Yes, I think so. Well, maybe our cameras can find it when she does discover it. But right now, we're going to look to Holly and Max Milne out first. And things are very tight at the top of the men's competition here. And Max having a long look. And you just get the feeling Max is on a run of form here, but look at Toby's scores. 4, yes, a slow start. 2 flashes followed that. Toby is in touch as well. Max, upside down, cruises through this first move as Holly pulls on your bottom right.
Yeah, Holly with the big effort. She's definitely putting it all into this last block.
Power press up then.
Yeah, she's going for the straightforward manner. She's doing it. Fair play, Holly. Good tricep action.
Yes, that's what I'm about to say. Like pure triceps on both arms.
I'm not sure what Max is doing.
What is Max doing?
I don't know.
This is disgusting. My shoulders are in pain watching it.
I think Max thinks that hold was better than it is, but it's not.
Oh, it's so awkward, but he's done it somehow. 1 move away from Max.
Yeah.
Hits it. Got a match. Yes.
Good effort.
I don't know if he can be beaten on that now.
Max loves the celebration. You can't see him at all because it's dark, but he is stood on top of the wall currently.
And Holly gets it done. And her bounce back as the volume is risen off the roof here. Holly gets a bump, but it is going to leave her still in second place and Izzy in first there. But great comeback from Holly.
Yeah, she'll be stoked with that. And obviously, you always want the feeling of, like, yeah, when you finish a comp, and that's definitely something that she's got.
YouTube is my favourite thing, by the way. Everyone's just going, what is that? That was disgusting. Oh, amazing move from Max. Max, the champion. Yes, I think Toby on attempts might struggle here. He's on 6. And so is Max. Oh, come on. In fact, Max has just literally jumped over the top of the wall. I'm going to give up my position here and let Leah. Max, mate, you take this and talk us through this boulder. Yeah.
He can't.
Super hard to read.
He's only just got off the top of it. What was the backhand all about? Were you just kind of like... You were so contorted at one point, I was like, what is going on?
I thought maybe the root setters wanted a spin.
Ah, okay. And then you felt the hold and went, no, that's shocking. It's not that.
No shit.
It's really bad. Sorry for the underage listeners at home. We'll change the language. But, you know, he's just come off the wall. We'll give him a benefit of the doubt. Yeah, fair play, Max. Like,
Thanks.
That was really cool to watch. Everyone went absolutely mental on the stream. Obviously, we've got Toby still climbing up here now. It's close between you two. You're in.
It's hard.
You're in.
Thanks. All right, well, Max is going to go. He literally climbed over the top of the wall into our commentary box. We had to shove him on the mic. Toby now fighting on the no text. Full just right-hand palm on that no texture surface.
I mean, Toby's in full fight mode here. He also won't know how close it is between him and Max.
No. He twists. It's classic Toby try hard, this one is.
He needs to bump that left foot up onto the volume now. Yep, here we go. And then big biceps to the top.
Makes the match from Toby. And we wait. But Max, who is still standing in our commentary box, has just realised that he's taken victory. High five.
And he's taken victory by one attempt to top.
Oh, close stuff from Max here. Max just chilling in our commentary box, watching the rest of the action. Meanwhile, Thea pressing up into this mantle position. Chest involved, fighting so hard, but she drops down.
This is literally one of my worst moves. It's just, you feel like the whole world is against you when you're just trying to get on top of there. Obviously, unless you've got skills like Holly and you can just pop it out like that, then great. But if you've not quite got that tricep strength or the confidence through that movement,
yeah,
it's not a nice feeling, that.
It's not, and I find personally, you know, if I'm tired, if I'm struggling a bit, mantles just become so much more difficult. It doesn't matter how much you want it, your body won't give it to you.
Yeah, you end up groveling and you just, you're in a world of pain. And I think you can kind of see this on Thea's face as well. This is a really rough last block. It's really, really physical, but you don't really feel like you're going very far.
Yeah, exactly. You put all that in and then you still fall off. So she's got a couple more chances here. Toe hooks, hanging off. Good work with that left hand, makes the match. And then some big moves to come here now. Has she got something in these arms? Can she find that extra couple of percent? She starts to go. Come on, everyone. Cheer her on at home. Hammer that heart button. No, it's not going to happen.
No, and I mean, she's got a little bit of time left on the clock, but I just don't think we're going to see this from Thea this time round.
You can just feel it draining out of her arms, and we will encourage her all the way. She's not going to give up. 30 seconds on the clock now, and deep breaths out there. She approaches this amazing comp wall at Boulder UK onto the volume. Heel hook to start with, out towards, the thumb catch.
Yeah, this is the way that she's been doing it. Then feet first, swivel round. You know, again, it's not the fastest. And she has got the bonus. I think that's what we're going to see from Thea on this one. And it's a shame to finish your last block like that. Obviously, it's not the top that Holly just got. But that's the way it goes sometimes.
Well, I know you're going to go and interview some people here. So Leah is going to say goodbye for the time being. She's going to go down to the front of the stage, and amongst the chaos and the noise, she's going to find our winners here. So Thea goes back into isolation, and there is George Longsdale. Now, don't go anywhere, everyone, because interviews to come. We'll try to grab Toby as well, as it's his channel we're piggybacking off here. And, of course, talk to our winners and the podiums to come, which will be broadcast for your entertainment. So please don't go anywhere. But in the meantime, while you're chilling, let me know, what was your moment of the competition? For me, I think it's got to be that shoulder move that Max did. Unbelievable to pull that move off as we look at our leaderboard here. But do let me know, what was your favourite bit and what a comp it was, eh? And thank you to everyone who's put on such a fantastic time for us, and our sponsors rotating through on the top of the screen. And they have been active in the building as well. You can come along, try out some shoes, try out some chalk. And thank you to Ian as well for building the amazing renders that we saw and for flying it around. That was not us on the controllers. That was Ian, who was meant to be taking photos, so I think dedicated himself to the drone-style controls. So thank you, Ian. And let's see, Ember's top, people who enjoyed that. Toby did great, yes he did. And people are enjoying Max's crazy move, but a lot of people enjoying Ember as well. And thank you to Climbing Gems, who's selling some chalk bags out there as well. Well, as the blue light hits our wall, Leah Crane will be somewhere down in the audience attempting to grab our winners, which, trust me, is easier said than done when you've got some excited athletes. And our podium being built down at the bottom. In fact,
Two. This is my second time.
And how did it go last round that you were here?
Last time it wasn't very good. I didn't do very well in semis, and I wasn't.
Okay, so you had an absolute groundbreaking moment on block one. You came out and just absolutely smashed it. What were your expectations coming into the competition?
I just wanted to try as hard as I could. I wanted to have like fun comp, but yeah, it was really good.
Okay. And with the flashes, like how do you hold it together mentally? Because I think a lot of people talk about the physical aspects of climbing, but for you, if you didn't have a good round last time, did you know that you were the only one that flashed the first block, and obviously then you got some more flashes as well? Like how did you hold that together?
Yeah, I think it was really hard. On my last boulder, I was like, I knew what was going on. It was really hard to stay strong mentally. Yeah.
And back in isolation, do you talk about stuff, or do you just kind of like keep yourself to yourself and keep your head down and stay focused?
Yeah, just kind of sit there and try and stay calm for the next boulder.
And then one last question, like, are you going to celebrate? Like, have you got a strong season ahead? Have you got plans of more competitions?
I'm going to try and do as many internationals as I can, but I have exams this year, so we're just balancing both of those.
Amazing. Well, fantastic effort. Like, I've loved watching you climb tonight. I was like sat on the edge of my seat watching you. Well done so much, and all the best for the season.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
thank you to Leah Crane.
So
How good is...
I was going to say, next up, we've got Toby. Toby, like, watching you on that last slab, I was literally about 2 meters away, on the slab watching you top. It looked quite tense. Did you feel tense, or did you feel like quite in control?
I didn't feel too tense, actually. I felt like I was more just trying to work it out. Like, I knew I was, like, on the last move, I was trying to find the foot, trying to get the ridge on it. But I think it maybe looked more, like, intense than it actually was. But I'm happy with that because I've been working on my slabs.
I mean, it looked like you were taking your time and you were being really calculated. Like, in terms of the rest of the climbs and the movements, was it what you expected? Like, did you get out of this comp what you thought you would come in here?
Yeah, so I wanted to use this comp just to see where I'm at in my training, try and execute on some boulders, which I'm happy with. Like, on the first one, I made a few mistakes, which I'm upset with, which cost me the win. But overall, I'm happy with how I did. But yeah, it was a close fight with Max, but in the end, he took the win.
Yeah, and you kind of know Max is coming for you. Like, he made that clear in the VT. He was like, I want to beat Toby. It's really good to see the camaraderie between both of you. And obviously, you've both got a pretty good season ahead. What are your plans? Are you doing more rope? Are you doing boulders? Are you doing a bit of both?
I'm doing both lead and boulder. Starting the season off in China at the end of April. I'm going to be competing with Max at the comp, so it's great to... we are just really good friends as well, so it's not like a rivalry like that. We push each other, and yeah, I'm psyched to compete with him.
Yeah, I think you can also see that as well. Obviously, it's always fun. You're both smiling loads. It's really good to see you against each other. But all the best for the season, and it was really great to watch you tonight.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to see if we can also grab Max. 1 second.
Stephen Lee.
Well. You said you made it pretty clear that you wanted to come out and beat Toby. You did that. I don't know if you were aware at the time. You did that by one attempt to top. Like, how was the comp overall for you? Obviously, you were here to beat Toby, but was that also to take top spot?
Can I hold the mic? Cool. I wasn't here just to beat Toby. Like, I was here to come and win. But this comp is like always really special for me. Like, it's around every year. I've done it for 5 years. And it's always around, like, my mum's anniversary of her passing away. And it's always been, like, really hard for me to come here, compete, have that in my mind. But it's also, like, makes, like, being here to compete with that going on is always makes it easier to, like, survive and, like, deal with that. So, like, I've always wanted to win this competition for that reason. I'm like putting a good performance for her. And this one, I was like, okay, this is the one. And I'm just happy I can do that. And yeah, put on this show and dedicate this performance for her.
And I think that's something that is really highlighting back to the viewers at home is like, yeah, those guys watch you climb, but there's so much more going on behind the scenes. And obviously everyone has their own individual story. I'm really glad that you could pull it out of the bag tonight, especially as that means so much to you. In terms of what's next, obviously, again, like with Toby, you've got a season ahead of you. And you said that you use this competition to kind of see where you're at. Are you happy with where you're at? Are there things that you want to move forward and work on? Or is it just kind of all around general prep and like, we're going to have a year of max?
Definitely we're going to have a year of max, but I feel like where I'm at now is in a super good place. I think the power boulder wasn't hard enough that me and Toby can actually show our like strength, but we showed good execution, and like skill wise I'm really happy, and yeah, physically I'm in a good place as well. And we didn't show that too much, but I think it's like the World Cups, we both will.
Yeah. And on this red and black boulder here, like the dyno, the one that you and Toby decided not to dyno on, was that something that was calculated? Was that something that you both read together and pre-planned, or was that an individual plan that you had yourself?
Everyone read it as a jump, but we didn't focus on that bit too much. Like the top move looked really hard, but it wasn't actually too bad. So I just saw this undercut and saw this hold and thought it looked quite good. So I didn't really read it as a double. And yeah, I've been training on the spray wall a lot, so it helps.
It's really good to see you moving really well on the wall. I'm, again, really psyched you took the win even by 1 point. I want to give you a hug because it means so much to you, this comp. Like, fair play, and I wish you all the best this season. All right, thank you. Okay, let's go and find Holly. 1 second. We might have to go on a little bit of a walk just to find her. So they all go and hide and scamper off at the end of a comp. Do you know where Holly is? I'm just struggling to find some of the girls now. Yeah, I think I would really love to chat to Holly because obviously she had like a bit of a rough start of the competition, but she like kept her cool so well and really brought it back, and is going to be standing on second step for this comp. So it's a shame we won't get to talk to her, but I'm going to throw it back to Matt in the commentary booth.
Well, thank you, Leah. A lovely little insight, and what a moment from Max, and you guys on YouTube responded in the appropriate way. It's always hard when you lose someone, and fair play to Max for dedicating this competition to his mum. What a lovely moment that was. Well, there is our podium, 1, 2 and 3 in the middle of the Plywood Masters wall here at Boulder, UK. And we have been really enjoying their hospitality and the setting, it's got to be said. And this for me is what makes these competitions, is you need the best setters, the best climbers, and gradually things get better and better every year, and there's big things ahead for Plywood Masters. Well, George Longsdale will announce things for us. And in third place, Thea comes out onto the mat to celebrate that bronze medal. A fist bump there. And then second place, Holly Toothill. We tried to find her earlier on, we couldn't quite, and Leah has joined me back in the commentary box. I'll put her on air.
She's dressed all in black. I couldn't find her anywhere.
What wonderful interviews, Leah. You are very, very good at this, and what a moment from Max. But we'll talk about Max in a sec, because our winner now is out. There is Izzy. She said she wanted to compete in more internationals this year. Exams might get in the way.
Yeah, do you know, it's so hard when people have got to juggle school and performance, and these guys have got so much on them at such a young age sometimes. I think this will be a fantastic confidence boost for her. And I'm really hoping this kind of carries her momentum into the season, and she continues to get stronger, avoids injury, and just has, a fantastic time and getting experience in comps.
I agree. She looked very impressive out there today. We'll have to keep an eye on her for the future. But for now, she celebrates a winning Plywood Masters 25. The women will leave the stage. We'll bring the men on in a minute. And yeah, what a moment from Matt. He talked about it before this competition, but winning it for his mum was lovely.
I was really close to
Me
crying.
too, watching it, honestly. I had to blink it back.
I mean, I think it's always hard when you lose someone close to you. I've also lost my mum, and I think that was almost why it kind of made me really sad as well, because I know what it feels like. And he's obviously doing, wanted to win this comp for her. So there's a lot of emotion behind that, and the fact that he could really hold his head together is only a testament to what he's capable of. And like we said, physically he's doing really well. Mentally he feels in a good place, and I just really hope that he can pull that forward and climb well in competitions when he needs to, and that everything comes together for him at the right time.
Yeah, exactly that. We'll look ahead to the rest of the season here, but for now, this is our top three: Sam, Toby and Max on the podium. And I think they're best on the night. They were kind of winning into the finals. Right, that's it, Leah. We're done for 2025.
I know that we have to wait a whole year to do it again.
Terrible, isn't it?
I was going to say, I just want to say thanks to everyone online, because it as well as we've got the crowd here and we're talking to a computer screen, but actually having interaction from the online crowd is really cool and really amazing. So thanks for everyone getting involved on there.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Well, thank you to Leah and thank you to everyone involved. We will return next year for more action from Plywood Masters and Boulder UK. Congratulations to the athletes. Let's get cracking on the 25 comp season, shall we? I cannot wait. And we will see you very soon. Goodbye, everyone.